You know that show?
I watched like the beginning intro of it, and then I would tune out.
Yeah,
that's about it.
Cheers was like a really popular, famous show, and those of you guys that are like me, you're 50, you guys know that this was like a really popular show back in, probably like the late 80s or whatever.
Let's do it. Scott Kaplan for your Friday night right now.
Don't get it twisted, homegirl. Yo, what is going on tonight? Scott Kaplan taken to the airwaves of 710 ESPN. And oh yeah, tonight I got my girl Janice Garcia. She's home in Whittier. She's running this operation and video streaming the entire radio show. So if you're on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or Twitch and you want to hang out with our team tonight, I'm at home, still not back in the studios, but downtown LA is Jesse the Body and Curtis Poindexter, and so we are on the radio and we are on all the streaming services, video streaming services tonight. If you want to get intimate, you're going to hang out with me on a Friday night in my house, so I'm glad to have everybody along. It's been kind of a weird week because the Lakers being on the road and part of this East Coast swing that they're on, and the timing of the game starting at 4:30 or 5, and then they end, and then we get through post-game with the Slee, and then the next thing you know, we don't get on the air till 8:30. So tonight, we jump onto the airwaves live at 7:17 p.m., and we've got our full 3 hours. It's Friday night. It's been a crazy week. If you want to get in and you got to talk about something, hey, I'm here for you, man. 877-710-ESPN, 877-710-3776. Callers last night were great. So if you've got to get something off your mind, if you want to talk about the Rams, Jared Goff's situation, if you want to talk about the Lakers and this really bad game that they played, and I say bad game, bad 8 minutes, really bad in the fourth quarter last night. I just rewatched the entire game on the Spectrum compact version of it all. So if you want to get in on the Lakers, that's cool. We can talk about that. I'll tell you where my mind would be. I think this has been the weirdest week with the story of Wall Street and Main Street and Reddit and Robinhood and GameStop and stock manipulation and warfare between the classes. I mean, this was like the most fascinating week to me. So my mind is all over the place. I will say good evening to my squad here. Say hello, everybody, to a man who's been producing all these Laker games that you've been hearing on the radio, but he's back now tonight producing the Scott Kaplan Show. Say what's going on to my man here, Jesse the Body in the house.
Weighing 262 pounds, Jesse the Body Lopez!
And now we'll be back to producing tomorrow's game against the Celtics. So bring it Celtics. Sorry, I'm a little excited.
The Lakers got to get it back together tomorrow.
They'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, listen, losing to Philadelphia, who's a good team, you can live with that, especially the way they came back late in that game and took the lead, and then they wound up giving it up on a last-second shot. Okay, so you lose that game. Then you go to Detroit, and you're in that game all the way till there's 8 minutes to go, and it's a 2-point game, and then they blow up for 14 points. The Lakers can't hit the side of a barn, and you wind up losing that game. And listen, I think that there's a certain arrogance that comes with, we're the defending champions. We think we got much better in the offseason. We were crushing people and didn't have to worry about how many minutes LeBron was playing because he was over sitting on the bench with his shoes off with 8 minutes to go in the game because the game was already over and it was decided, look, this is a long road trip and everybody's going to give you their best. And sometimes you don't even know where these guys are. Like Blake Griffin, really? Kind of off my radar. Didn't realize he was in Detroit. I mean, seriously, there are some guys on that team that you're going, Derrick Rose? Really? Oh, man, I haven't seen that guy in a long time. I didn't know he grew his hair that long. Wow, missed it. So there's some guys on that team. And so the Lakers in that loss, Jesse, I can feel you. I know they got to win tomorrow. They got to bring it back because you know this. They're going to get Boston's best. It's a nationally televised game on ABC. They're going to get the best Boston can give them. They want that game.
Oh, yeah. And the Lakers wanted to, especially after losing these two back-to-back. LeBron's going to be focused. AD is going to be back. He's going to be focused, especially because he didn't play yesterday against Detroit. So I'm ready. It's one of those. It's like the same thing with the Golden State game. It's a long season, and I think Kyle Kuzma said in his press conference that the regular season is a tune-up for the playoffs. They're just getting ready. They're getting all the kinks out. And every now and then you're going to lose. You're not going to go how long the season's going to be. And, they've already lost a couple times. It's all good. You wish they would have played better like they did in the Sixers, the way they came back. But, we're all human. Sometimes we go 0-fers for 6 minutes for whatever. But when we come back the next game, we just...
I just wanted them to go unbeaten on the road. I actually thought that all they had to do was get through Philly and Boston. And now they've already lost 2 when they had been unbeaten on the road. I think at that point they were 10-0 when they lost these 2 back-to-back games. So Jesse the Body,
I had a special stake in this too, because up until when I came back, until the loss against the Sixers and last night, all the games that I had produced, they had been undefeated. Because I didn't produce the game against the Warriors. Laura was doing that one because I was doing a different shift, and that was the game they lost. And up until the Sixers and last night, it was undefeated. So I was really confident I was going to walk up today and be like, they had been undefeated because I'm producing. But yeah, that didn't happen.
No, it didn't happen.
It's okay.
All right, so let me say this. Here's a guy who's running this operation this evening, keeping us on the road.
He has a new nickname too.
Okay, I'll be curious to hear what that is. I mean, this guy has become a financial tycoon. This guy right here is part of the Wall Street. What do they call the group that on Reddit? The
Wall Street Bets.
Wall Street Bets. This guy's now part of the squad. He heard about this. He wanted in on this. He bought a share of GameStop. He's up huge. This guy is now a financial tycoon. My man, Curtis Poindexter.
Here comes the money.
Oh, there it is. The wolf of ESPN LA in the house.
Yeah.
I'd like to be referred to as the financial genius at 710.
Yeah. Listen, you know what we should start doing?
Financial correspondent.
We should start doing like the Wall Street update. Hey, listen, I know it's 10 o'clock at night here, everybody. Well, right now it's 7:30, 7:23. Hey, I know it's later in the evening, everybody. But now, with a report as to what happened on Wall Street, here's Curtis. And we should just hand it off to Curtis, and he could just give us, hey, look, here's what happened. In fact, this isn't what happened on Wall Street. Here's what happened. It happened on Reddit. Or better yet, Curtis, tell everybody today. See, I'm old school. I'm watching CNBC all day. That's how I follow these kinds of things. How were you watching all this financial news?
I watched a bunch of Reddit money young guy Twitch streams all day. Just following. All of us diamond hands, we're ready for those stocks to go straight to the moon. We're going to space, boys.
Dude, Curtis is sending me texts today with pictures of the screen that he's following, and it's like a 22-year-old young guy, right? He's like, yeah, I just graduated college like last week, and they're like, so what's your degree in? And he's like, oh, anthropology, dude. And they're like, so what are you doing? He's like, well, right now I'm on Twitch, and what I'm doing is, you see all these charts back here? See all this stuff right here? See, I don't really know what this stuff means, but I do know that GameStop went crazy, and I went in on it, and I'm in. And Curtis, you must be feeling like, I mean, with restaurants reopening and stuff this weekend, you must be ready to go out for a big fat steak dinner, man. I mean, you're making bank.
This aura that's just coming off him, Cap. You wouldn't believe it.
Well, you know what it is? You know what it is? He's smarter now. The fact that he invested in GameStop, he is
big brain moves
right. Don't you feel smarter?
A little bit.
Yeah. You should. You should. Good for you.
Next week will be interesting because I actually pulled some money moves and I sold that GameStop share because that short sale's done. And it's all going to AMC, which is all this is supposed to happen again next week. So we'll find out how far we can take it.
All right. So you bought your share, not shares, share.
One share.
Now listen.
Like a baller.
Like total boss, right? Like there are certain people that are like, okay, hey, listen, you know what? Tesla is $800 a share. I'm going to buy one. I just want to be in the game. I'm going to buy one. It's $800. It's a lot of money. I mean, how often do you spend $800 in your life, right? On one thing. I'm going to buy one share of Tesla. Or another example, and I'd have to look up the exact price, but if you said I'm going to buy one share of Amazon, $2,500 a share, you're like, wow, that's a lot of money. $2,500. I got
They're like
one
$3
share.
grand now. It's ridiculous.
How much is Amazon?
$3,000.
All right, so good. You get my example. $3,000, right? I'm going to buy one share of Amazon. I think Amazon's great. I use it. I love it. I'm going to buy one share, $3,000. But what Curtis did was he said, wait a second. I'm in on this. I want to be part of this big gang here. If it's saying, screw you to the man, I want in on this. And how much did you pay for your GameStop share?
I paid $100, like 2 days ago, and the market closed today $380.
Mm-hmm. And when did you sell?
Sold right as the last 5 minutes of the market closing.
Okay, so you bought it what?
110.
And you sold at $380.
Yep.
You made $270.
Mm-hmm. And I turned it all into 25 shares of AMC, which is about to do the same thing because that's the next short sale coming next week.
Dude, you're a baller. And what did you buy your AMC shares for?
$10 each.
Okay, and so you let it ride. You bought like
this is
30
all
shares.
money for me, honestly.
Yeah.
I want a cameo 30 years from now when they make the Wolf of Wall Street movie about you, Curtis. I want a cameo. That's all I want. I'm not greedy. I just want a cameo.
I'll probably be Jonah Hill before I'm Leo.
Hey, dude, let me tell you, I've told you guys this story before, but when I was in college, I was about 18 years old, and I bet my very first football game. It was the only football game I've ever bet in my entire life. I bet $50 on the Buffalo Bills on a Monday Night Football game against the New York Jets or somebody like that. I bet $50 on the Bills to win. And it was a sure thing. It was like Jim Kelly's Buffalo Bills against, I want to say, Boomer Esiason's New York Jets. Boomer's already left Cincinnati, and he's with the New York Jets. And this is a sure thing. Buffalo's going to win. And I bet $50. And Buffalo lost. And the next day, these guys who I went to college with, they were like, hey, Kaplan, you need to give us the $50. And I said, for what? And they're like, well, you placed a bet with a bookie. We did it over the phone. Hey, I need 5 dimes on Buffalo. And I'm like, wait, so now I got to pay the money? They're like, yeah. I'm like, oh. So I give them the $50.
You got a hard understanding of how gambling works.
So I got to go. This is not on an app, dude. This is old school. I had to go to an ATM machine. I had to pull out $50.
Then you have to pay like a $3 ATM fee. Ridiculous.
So I don't know, but I just know this, that I had to hand over the cash to this guy. And I was like, and I'm telling you, I'm not exaggerating. I swear to you.
Did it hurt your
I've
soul?
never bet a football game ever again in my life because I lost. Had I won the game, had I won the $50, who knows what I might be today?
You could
Seriously.
have turned that $50 into $5 million or
So now
$50
think
million.
about Curtis. Now think about Curtis here,
That's
okay?
why I'm
Curtis is up.
right here.
Curtis is up right now about 66% in GameStop stock, okay? He's a first-time stock market player, and he's brilliant because he's up 66%. People in the world of money management would kill to be up 66% in their portfolio. Curtis, you're a genius.
I want you to deal with your problems by becoming rich.
You're a financial genius, and now you've moved from GameStop into AMC. You've bought it at $10 AMC, and you think next week the squeeze is coming on the short guys again, and the Reddit guys are going to drive the price up of AMC. Is that right?
They believe that Monday it's going to start happening. So I would get in either over the weekend or be ready.
But I thought the whole movement, I thought all the Reddit and the Wall Street, what is it again? Wall Street bets. I thought that those guys, I thought the whole thing was everybody should hold.
It was, but it's the thing is it started. GameStop was like the poster child. Now they're doing it with other stocks the same way, stocks getting short sold and all that. The call is put in, and there's a couple more stocks they're going to keep doing. Supposedly a bunch of those contracts expire next week, so we'll see.
I don't know, man. This is going to get dangerous. Here's my prediction. You ready? Here's my prediction. My prediction is sometimes you're a really good team, and you're 13-0, and then the next thing you know, your team just falls apart, and you are out of the playoffs early, and you thought, wow, we were really good. I feel like the Reddit guys are super inexperienced, very smart. I mean, whoever came up with this, I got to give them all the credit. Very smart. But I'm not sure they know how this is all going to be played. And if I had to bet on one side or the other right now, remember, I don't bet. But I don't know.
If you did.
I don't know, man. I think these Wall Street guys, I don't know. These guys, they didn't make all these billions of dollars without knowing the game that they're playing. They may have been blindsided, but man, I don't know what's going to happen next week. Can this keep happening? Look, let me ask you guys a question. Do either of you guys think GameStop is a good store? Because
Hell no.
Okay, so you don't feel strongly.
Last more than 3 years.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. You guys like Apple products?
I do.
Okay, so if you were going to buy a share of Apple at $150 a share, you'd be like, hey, I think that's pretty good because I really believe in Apple's products, But you don't even believe in GameStop. No. You know this is all just a game. Mm-hmm. That's going to stop.
Yep, pretty much. There's
For
a
Curtis,
reason it's called GameStop. It's like
GameStop is out of the money. We're ready.
Okay, yeah. Curtis is moving on. This guy's a tycoon, dude.
I started, honestly,
they ain't getting any more of my 30-cent games.
It was my way to it was my introduction because I don't take risks ever with anything, and this is enough to where if I lose it, I put it in an amount. True. I put in an amount that I'm happy with losing if it happens. So that's why for me it's just fun, but I'm actually learning. I'm learning about options too.
Yeah.
So
we're all
options
learning.
And all that.
We're all learning.
I love the fact that 2 days ago I started talking about this and you guys were like, what are you talking about? I don't know what short selling means and I don't understand it. And now you are a full-blown tycoon. And by the way, let me say one last thing about this whole thing. You ready? I'm blown away and impressed by the number of 710 listeners who've hit me up, even my podcast listeners from earlier in the day. They hit me up and they're like, dude, I'm so into this story. I'm glad you're talking about it. By the way, I'm also learning a lot because you're explaining a lot of this stuff, and it's not like I'm a financial genius at all. And I even cautioned everybody last night, like, yo, I don't have a Series 7, okay? I don't trade professionally. I mean, I may day trade and mess around here a little bit, but, that's just pure gambling is all that is. But, I do understand a lot of this stuff, and I've got some friends that are really close to this that I've learned a lot from over the years. And so to watch this stuff all go down is just completely crazy, man. It really is. Look, listen, let me say this. Coming up at the top of the hour, if you are a WWE fan, this weekend is the Royal Rumble. Big, giant event. And the star of it all is Drew McIntyre. He's the WWE champion. He's taking on one of my favorite wrestlers, Goldberg. So we're going to talk to Drew McIntyre. Yeah, Drew McIntyre, the champ, is going to join us at the top of the hour. If you're a wrestling fan, what'd you say, dude?
The Scottish sickle.
Yeah.
Drew McIntyre.
You guys got to tell me everything you know about Drew McIntyre. I can't wait to hear it because you guys said we want to get a wrestler on the weekend of the Royal Rumble. I said, who do you guys want? You said, give me the champ. We got the champ.
Look at him. You see him on the live stream. Just look at him. Gorgeous. Great guy.
Me?
No, McIntyre.
Oh, I thought you were talking about me. Sorry, man. I thought you were saying like everybody should check me out on the live stream.
That was you with your outfit yesterday.
Dude, yeah, I did look very money yesterday. I really did. Inspired by LeBron, but totally money, I think. All right, stick around. We are just underway. It is Friday night. You want to hang out? We're happy to have you, whether it's on radio or any of the video podcasting platforms like YouTube or Twitch or Twitter or Facebook. We're live streaming on all of those platforms. Yeah, what's going on tonight, everybody? And if you want to jump in, you can always call. We might very quickly put you on the air. I don't know. I mean, you got to have something interesting to say, but you might just sit there and hang out for a little while. 877-710-ESPN, 877-710-3776. Who is this WWE champ? These guys are going to tell me what they know. And are the Rams going to make a very early move to deal with their quarterbacking situation? Are the Rams about to make a big splash early? I mean, pre-Super Bowl early. Let's get to that story coming up. It's Scott Kaplan on 710 ESPN.
710 ESPN is giving away cash
again.
You have just won $1,000.
Way to go, Gil!
No way. Oh, awesome.
Anushka from Cyprus. Anushka.
Did I really win?
You really won, man.
You have won $1,000 cash.
That's crazy.
It's the Mission 18 cash giveaway.
Your chance at $180 a day.
And the grand prize of $1,800.
It's Mission 18, Los Angeles.
All you have to do is text the word mission to 40705 right now to get your name qualified.
Beginning Tuesday afternoon with Sedano and LZ, we start calling out names, and it could be yours that wins cash.
Giving away cash for 18 straight days.
The Mission 18 cash giveaway from LA's Mega Cash Sports Station.
710 ESPN.
Yeah.
Thank God it's
Friday. It's been a long week.
You're telling me.
I know. It's been a really weird, long week. I don't know why, but like it's Friday night. I'm ready to go, man. I'm ready
I know
to.
why it feels like a long week. I know exactly why.
Why? Tell me why it feels like a long week.
It's always around this time. It happens every year.
Yeah.
Because we go in from the holidays, Christmas, New Year's, and then we, sometimes we have that first week of January off. Sometimes we don't. But then there's Martin Luther King Day, and we have an extra day off. And then that following week, it just drags on because you got used to having a little more time off. I get it. That's exactly
this
what
is all wrong. You're completely wrong. No, it's a long week because you think about it like this. You think about it like this. This is one of those weeks, and we were just talking about the whole story of GameStop and, stock prices and manipulation. This is the kind of story that like everybody in the world is talking about. When I was younger, my kids were little, I used to take them into GameStop and buy them video games, and they were hard copy discs, right? And then you'd bring them home and you'd put them into your game console. And now you don't even need those discs anymore. You download these games, is my understanding of the whole deal, and people like have a bitter taste about this company GameStop just because the thing is you bought a video game one year for $70. The next day they were like, hey, trade it in. You're like, okay, what will you give me for it? And they're like $3, maybe $1. And you're like, wait a second, really? That's it? And now I got to go through the headache of putting it on eBay. And so that's if you did that. I never did it.
It wasn't just, it was that, but it wasn't just that.
What was it?
Like, I understand the devaluing of the game and whatever, but it's the fact that you buy a game for we sell it back to GameStop for $3. You go back the next time, they're selling it for $50. So it's like, no, where's the wiggle room in that? It's always the consumer who's getting ripped off.
Well, I never did any of that stuff. I was the idiot that would never do it. You have no idea how many video games, like hard copy video games I have. I'm a little bit of a hoarder. I gotta kind of admit it. I am
too a little bit with certain things.
Dude, I have boxes of every single Disney film on VHS tapes. Okay?
No.
Those are actually probably worth some money.
Those are good to hold on to.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Some of those definitely have value.
You guys will love this. I've got a series of VHS tapes of all my favorite wrestlers. Now, just to give you an idea, we're going to have Drew McIntyre on tonight, the champ.
Yes, sir.
I got VHS tapes of Goldberg and his greatest moments from WCW, not even WWE Goldberg, old school. So how is it my man Bill Goldberg, at 52 years old, is jumping in, and maybe even older, maybe he's 53 or 54, you'd have to fact check me on that. Bill Goldberg is going to get into the ring with Drew McIntyre. And so, guys, you said you wanted to have on the champ of WWE. Both of you guys are really into it. I've told you I grew up on wrestling, and I'd be lying if I told you that I've been watching it in the last couple of years. So Drew McIntyre, I can't wait to meet this guy. I've been researching and studying and calling people and talking to people about him all day, like as if I'm about to do a 60 Minutes interview, for crying out loud. And I'm excited to talk to him. So Curtis, give me what you got on Drew McIntyre.
Drew is an interesting story because he was with the company previously, like 15 years ago. Vince McMahon groomed him to be the next star, and it didn't work out because Vince usually has really bad ideas when it comes to gimmicks. So Drew left, came back after a couple years of going other companies, and now all of a sudden he became the champ. He had a meteoric rise the last year and a half, so he's the new golden child.
You know, I'm really excited to talk to him. I called a buddy of mine today because I like I said, I was researching this stuff last night. You guys would not believe it. I mean, I'm researching a pro wrestler. Like I'm telling you, like I'm getting ready to interview the president, for crying out loud. I was last night watching a Royal Rumble from 2013, I believe it was. And McIntyre was in that one. So this is kind of his first go-around,
his first run
in the WWE. And it turns out that a buddy of mine who was a college football teammate of mine, his name is Matt Bloom. And Matt Bloom played the character Albert in WWE.
Yep.
Then he left and went to
Albert.
Right. Then he went to Japan. He went to Japan and he came back and he's the exact same guy.
Tensai.
There we go.
Same guy. Like, wait a second. Wasn't he Prince Albert like 3 years ago? Yeah, he went to Japan. He came back as a guy named Tensai.
We need to have him on next.
Well, you know what he does? He's the head coach now.
Yeah, he's the head coach
of the, I think it's NXT.
NXT, everyone who comes in through the developmental program, anyone who wants to try out and, go to the WWE and go through it, he's the main coach, one of the main coaches there.
Yeah,
and I remember I watched him a lot as a child in the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
Matt Bloom.
Yeah, Matt Bloom. Yeah, and I was talking to him today because I'm telling you, I was trying to get as much information about Drew McIntyre as I could.
He was a good person to go to.
Yeah, it was really good. So Drew McIntyre, the champ of WWE, is coming up at the top of the hour. Jesse and Curtis are going to lose their freaking minds over this, okay? And I'm really excited to have him on the show tonight. I'm surprised I'm having him on because Goldberg's my favorite guy. Because let me tell you something. In the mid-'90s, when Goldberg showed up on the pro wrestling scene, for me, that was Sandy Koufax. You understand? I mean, that was like, wait a second. Oh my God, there's a guy named Goldberg. He's the toughest guy in pro wrestling. That's like my Jewish sports hero, Bill Goldberg. Telling you.
He's 54, by the way.
54, yeah. Yeah, he was the Sandy Koufax of my generation. You think I'm joking? I'm not.
No, I believe you.
People are listening. They're like, are you out of your mind? I'm like, no, seriously. Like in Hebrew school, in the early 80s, they told me about Sandy Koufax. In the mid-90s, I had Bill Goldberg.
Yeah, Bill Goldberg. I mean, if you were watching wrestling at all in the 90s, he was the face of WCW. He was the guy who was on all the shows. He had that unbeaten streak. There was a lot of other people around him. Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff. But no, Goldberg was their star. And it was only a coincidence they look exactly like Stone Cold Steve Austin. But he was the guy.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Goldberg at 54 years old against Drew McIntyre, and McIntyre's the champ, and I can't wait to talk to this guy tonight. Top of the hour, 8 o'clock. Wrestling fans, don't go anywhere. Drew McIntyre. For those of you that are not wrestling fans and you're like me, and you don't even really know what a big superstar this guy is, just hang out, because I don't think we're going to be getting deep into the details of who he's wrestling other than Goldberg. I would like the whole scene of wrestling right now, unless Jesse and Curtis, you guys definitely should chime in because I know that you guys are excited to hear from him. But for me, it's just more about understanding how a guy from Scotland gets over here, how he goes through the first time, doesn't make it, has to leave, go out on independent tours, work on his character, work on his physique, and then gets to come back to WWE after all these years and elevates the champ. So I'm more interested in the human story because I don't know really a whole lot about this generation of wrestlers. You want to talk Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair, I'm your guy, Drew McIntyre.
I'm sure he had a lot of interactions with Dusty, especially that first time around when he was in the WWE,
ask him.
because he was a lot of superstars who are, at the top of their spot now actually, they remember Dusty and they help them, training them a lot. So, there's a good core of today's superstars who have a very sentimental towards Dusty.
All right, well, we're talking to him coming up. All right, let me just switch my attentions now, everybody, for a quick moment, over to the rumors that are happening around the Rams and the quarterbacking situation. There was a report earlier today from Jeremy Fowler from ESPN, who, if you were with us earlier this evening, he was on with Sedano and LZ, and they interviewed him. And Jeremy Fowler's report says, and I'm going to read to you his report. Sources: Matthew Stafford considers the Rams a viable contender in his trade market with the Lions. While it's unclear what the Rams can do with Jared Goff's long-term deal on the books, they've explored the possibilities with Stafford. Okay, let's jump into this for a second. Here's what I'll tell you about Matthew Stafford. This is my perception of Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford is a great statistical quarterback, okay? Matthew Stafford is not a winning quarterback, okay? Now, I'm asking you, I'm just putting that out there. He's a great statistical quarterback, but he's not a winning quarterback. And if you heard me say that and you think Matthew Stafford is a much better option than Jared Goff, then here's what your comeback would be. Yeah, he's not a winning quarterback. We understand. He plays for the Detroit Lions. They stink. The Detroit Lions are a team in the NFC comparable to the San Diego Chargers are in the AFC. They're just a bad franchise. And so you can have great players like Phillip Rivers or Matthew Stafford, but they never are on winners because their organization stinks. So the question you would have to ask yourself as a Rams fan is this: do you think Matthew Stafford is a significant upgrade to Jared Goff? And if I start breaking out the statistics for you, and I'm happy to do it if you really feel like I need to, but here's what I'll tell you. Matthew Stafford got all the numbers. Lots of passing yards, lots of touchdowns. I mean, he's got impressive numbers. But he doesn't have wins to go with it. And you say, yeah, but again, it's the Lions. I say, okay, great, it's the Lions. But when he comes to the Rams, in theory, he joins their winning culture. Does he elevate them? And right now, my answer is, I don't really know for sure what would happen. But I know that you're getting much older at the position, and you're not really truly getting one of the greats. In other words, if Aaron Rodgers could somehow be had by the Rams, to me, that's the same kind of move that Tom Brady made minus the Super Bowls. Because I guess if I'm going to criticize Matthew Stafford versus Aaron Rodgers, the fact of the matter is Rodgers has been to one Super Bowl and has won one Super Bowl and is 1-4 in his career in NFC championship games. So while I guess you could make the same case about Aaron Rodgers, with the exception of the fact that he does have a Super Bowl. If the Rams could get Aaron Rodgers, you do anything you have to do to get Aaron Rodgers. Matthew Stafford would come in and compete for a starting job, and maybe he'd become the starting quarterback, or maybe he'd be a really expensive veteran backup quarterback because Jared Goff elevated his game in some way. I'm not so sure that Matthew Stafford is the answer. I'd be curious to see what happens, but I'm not so sure that Matthew Stafford is the answer for the Rams. Now, if you told me Sam Darnold, if you said, hey, you got a chance to go with a young guy, he's from Southern California, he went to USC, he also plays on a terrible organization, the New York Jets, I'd say, yeah, I'd rather take my chances on Sam Darnold than Matthew Stafford. So, this report about Stafford, the other thing that I find, interesting about it is it's so early. The expectation from NFL insiders is that this is going to be an NBA-style offseason for the NFL. meaning NBA stars move all the time. They team up all the time. They try and find the best situations. Sometimes they try and force themselves into the best situations. For NFL players, it doesn't usually work this way, but there could be 10, 12 quarterbacks potentially on the move this offseason. And so for me, if I were 100% convinced Stafford's the guy and I could do the deal, I suppose if I'm really convinced, I might do it now. But I'd really like to see how this whole quarterback offseason begins to shake out. Because if I could have my choice, if I were really ready to move on from Goff, and I believe that the Rams are, based on what we heard, Les Snead at a press conference earlier this week, multiple times being told, dude, you could just put this to bed right now. No, he didn't want to put it to bed. No, we don't know what the future is. It's a beautiful mystery. Wait a second, beautiful mystery. Isn't that what Aaron Rodgers just said? Hold on, 2 + 2, beautiful mystery plus beautiful mystery. That must equal Aaron Rodgers is coming to the Rams, right?
I love these mind games.
Yeah.
They're so great.
So this report about Matthew Stafford, here's the report. I want to read it again. Matthew Stafford considers the Rams a viable contender in his trade market with the Lions. Yeah, you know who else Matthew Stafford thinks is a viable contender? Everybody else. Anybody who's looking for a quarterback, especially a veteran quarterback, who's been as good as Matthew Stafford's been in his career. And he's been good. But he hadn't been great. He hasn't elevated a team to a championship. He hasn't sniffed the playoffs. I mean, really. So I don't really know for sure. Now, I do hear some of these other rumors that are being perpetuated by some of the players on the Rams about a Deshaun Watson, for example. Now, if you could get Deshaun Watson, I'd much rather have Deshaun Watson and the upside of what he does versus Matthew Stafford, who's on the backside of his career. I mean, Jalen Ramsey, all this little chatter about Deshaun Watson. And then, by the way, Houston hires a new coach, and this guy comes to the press conference. Nobody's ever heard of this guy, by the way. And he comes to the press conference, and he's like, yeah, well, the reason I took the job is because Deshaun Watson's the quarterback. And then the media's like, but yeah, he's formally requested a trade because, informally he was just talking about it in the media. Formal proposal is email. That's real formality right there. Hey, he wants out. Okay, it's official. But the new coach in Houston says, no, I took the job because Deshaun Watson's going to be our quarterback. According to NFL insiders, this upcoming offseason is going to be the craziest quarterback offseason of all time. If I'm Les Snead, okay, pump the brakes, dude. Take your time. Decide what it is you really want. Do you want a veteran who could turn into a backup or who might be competing for a starting job? Do you want to go younger and say a Sam Darnold, a Deshaun Watson? These guys are going to replace Jared Goff. That we know. I mean, decide what it is you want.
Learn from Curtis, Snead. Play the long game. Curtis is playing the long game here.
I don't know if he played the long game. He bought that GameStop stock, and he was in and out in a couple of days, and he got out when all of the Wall Street bet guys said on Reddit, hold, hold, hold. Curtis jumped, and then he bought into AMC.
Which we're still holding strong on AMC, holding through next week. Diamond hands, going to the moon.
So we know if Monday comes or whenever we have a show next.
Probably
at some
Friday
point next
will be
week.
my last day if it works out.
Oh, you're going to at least give it the week?
Yeah.
How courteous of you, Curtis.
Well, yeah, he's courteous Curtis. Isn't that sweet?
I know.
Isn't that just nice? Yep. Yeah, he got a few more days of working in this business, and then once AMC goes from $10 a share where he bought it, and it goes up to like $5 million a share, and this kid's sitting on 30 shares. All of a sudden, Curtis is a billionaire.
I paid more for a bag of popcorn at AMC back in the day than one share.
Right. I mean, right. So if you got some peanut butter cups at an AMC theater, $35. Now you can buy 3 shares.
Next door,
extra 15 if I want the icy too.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to get the icy, though.
I haven't been to a movie theater in so long, and I'm not just talking about COVID. I mean, okay, granted, obviously it's been a year
What was the last movie you remember watching in the movie theater? That's the best way to judge it. Because
oh my God, this is so
if you
embarrassing.
remember. Oh, boy.
I would say like
Indiana Jones.
No, not Indiana
and
Jones.
not even the one with what's his name? Shia LaBeouf. Not even that one, right?
No. I'd say the last movie I may have seen in a movie theater was like Lone Survivor or
Oh man, with Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, or like maybe was there another one called 13 Hours, I think, or something? It was like about the Benghazi attack.
That one sounds familiar.
On an American
with,
embassy.
John Krasinski,
I can't. Maybe Avatar, was that a movie?
I hope it wasn't. Avatar was like 2009.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've been in a movie theater, dude.
Although that land in Walt Disney World is amazing. I've never seen the movie. I'm like whatever about it, but the land in Walt Disney World, the Animal Kingdom, it's gorgeous.
Listen, I know I've been in a movie theater. I've been in one. I have to have been. I did. I've been. I just can't think of the movie I've seen.
Do you remember who you saw in the movie?
No, I don't remember anything about it other than it was one of those fancy movie theaters, one of those bougie theaters, you know,
with the reclining
chairs.
Yeah,
and I fell asleep.
It's like a Regal.
You know, I fell asleep in this thing.
You know what? That's happened to me before. I ain't
Bring
gonna
you
lie.
boxed wine.
All right, listen, coming up, the WWE champion, Drew McIntyre, is going to be here. And Drew is a guy who has had this meteoric rise in the WWE in his second round with WWE. The Royal Rumble is happening this Sunday from the Thunderdome Tropicana Field in Tampa. So they're going to have this week the Royal Rumble and next week the Super Bowl. And Drew McIntyre, the champ of WWE, is going to join us. So listen, stick around. We're broadcasting on 710 on the radio airwaves, and we are streaming live video on Twitter and Twitch and Facebook and YouTube. And our live stream is being brought to us by Puente Hills Toyota. Puente Hills Toyota is the house of yes. Speaking of yes, the champ. What's he going to tell us about this Royal Rumble? Is he going to win against Goldberg? Drew McIntyre. Next, it's Scott Kaplan on 710 ESPN.
710 ESPN is giving away cash
again.
You have just won $1,000.
Way to go, Gil!
No way. Oh, awesome.
Anushka from Cyprus. Anushka,
Did I really win?
You really won, man.
you have won
Holy
$1,000
smokes.
cash.
That's crazy.
It's the Mission 18 cash giveaway
Your chance at $180 a day.
and the grand prize of $1,800.
It's Mission 18, Los Angeles.
All you have to do is text the word mission to 40705 right now to get your name qualified.
Beginning Tuesday afternoon with Sedano and LZ, we start calling out names, and it could be yours that wins cash.
Giving away cash for 18 straight days.
The Mission 18 cash giveaway from LA's Mega Cash Sports Station.
710 ESPN.
ESPN. WWE Champion Drew McIntyre is going to join us here in a matter of moments. Jesse and Curtis, you guys let me know when the champ is ready to roll. It's the Royal Rumble this weekend in Tampa. How about Tampa, Florida? They won the Stanley Cup in hockey. Not that I paid attention. They were in the World Series. Paid attention to that because the Dodgers beat them. They've got Tom Brady and the Buccaneers in the Super Bowl in their home stadium. Obviously, I'm way into that. And even this upcoming weekend, they've got this massive wrestling show that's happening in their town. But one of the things we've been talking about every time we seem to talk to somebody, player or broadcaster, it's like, hey, what's it like? What's it like playing games there? I was talking to, okay, here comes a full-blown name drop. This isn't like humble brag at all. This is just full-blown name drop right here. I had Jim Nantz from CBS Sports on my podcast recently, and you can see the video on my YouTube channel. And the thing that Jim was saying about this football season this year is that it wasn't fun. I mean, he's getting ready to go to the Super Bowl, and he's like, the season wasn't fun. It was not fun. So I wonder about, pro wrestlers wrestling without the energy of the crowd. Here is the WWE champion for the first time ever here on Scott Kaplan on 710 ESPN. Drew, good evening. Glad you're here, man. How you doing?
Fantastic. Thank you very much for having me. I see the theme music in the background to set things up nicely.
Yeah, man. Where are you tonight?
I am currently driving back home to Tampa, Florida from Fort Lauderdale, Florida with the wife. All
right. Hi, Mrs. McIntyre. Can you hear me?
Oh, she cannot hear you. Regards, Mrs. Thank you for driving. I'm not driving right now.
I thought I might have been on speakerphone, dude.
No, I've got the headphones in. I want to hear you clearly. I want to talk about WWE, Royal Rumble, beating up Goldberg, and WrestleMania.
Yeah, man. I got a lot I want to talk to you about, man. I really do. I'm excited that you're here. I was telling the guys, because I got my two guys that are in our downtown LA studios that are so excited to have you on the show tonight, as I am as well. I was doing a ton of research getting ready for this, so I want to just jump right in if you don't mind. You ready to go?
Oh, I'm ready.
All right, you got to tell me, how's a guy growing up in Scotland become a WWE star? Because you just mentioned Fort Lauderdale. I grew up in Fort Lauderdale. I grew up on Florida Championship Wrestling, Georgia Championship Wrestling, which became WCW, Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair, Harley Race. I mean, this was the era that I grew up in, I loved. How did you, a kid in Scotland, grow up to love and become a WWE wrestler?
Well, I was always a huge fan of wrestling, and since I was a kid, my earliest memories, my brother and I were watching wrestling, and just like every kid, wanted to be a wrestler, wanted to be a soccer player where I'm from, wanted to be an astronaut. But as I got a little older, other friends changed their mind and started getting more realistic about their goals. I'm probably going to work with my dad in the office. I'm going to be an accountant, a civil engineer, and I never deviated from the wrestling. My whole life as I grew up, I knew this is what I'm going to do. By the time I got to 15 years old, I'd found a wrestling school. Spent 3 years convincing my mother to let me go to the only school in the UK. It was a 24-hour round trip from where I lived just to go to learn to wrestle. And as often as I could travel, as often as I could afford, my mom and nana would give me the money to go and learn to wrestle. I kept, talking about I'm going to do this wrestling thing. Drew, that's an American thing. That's not a Scottish thing. Nobody in Scotland goes to the WWE, but I pursued it like a madman. I stuck it in my school. I got my degree from university at 21 years old in criminology. And then at 21, I was also the first ever Scotsman signed to WWE. I was just pretty much, I was just too stubborn. I was going to make this happen one way or another.
Yeah, I know. I know that drive. I know that ambition. So Drew McIntyre is the WWE champ. He's on tonight on Scott Kaplan on 710 ESPN. So 21 years old, you're already signing with the WWE. Is that right?
Yep, signed at 21, got to America, was on television on SmackDown 3 weeks later.
How did that happen? Is it because you were going to this school in England? Is it because you were wrestling on other tours over in Europe? How did that happen so quickly?
Well, it certainly wasn't, my talent level at the time. Quite frankly, I was terrible, to be honest. When I first came to America, the standard in the UK wasn't great at the time. I got signed based on my potential. I was a young kid, a 6'5", 245 at the time, and just, had the right look. And that's basically what it came down to. It just so happened the right people, the writers, the creative team saw me when I first arrived in America and thought, wow, this kid's somebody we could really put on television, could really, give a great opportunity to. And they did. They put me on television, and they found out quickly on live TV that I had no idea what I was doing. So they quickly took me back off television and sent me to Florida Championship Wrestling, that you mentioned earlier, to really learn what I was doing, the American style of wrestling, and how to work for those cameras. Obviously, WWE is very, gigantic. With a huge audience out there, you got to play to those cameras, and I had no idea how to do that at the time.
So when you were growing up, though, Drew, and you talked about wanting to be a wrestler, were you not as attracted to the interview as you were to the actual ring work?
Yeah, I was always attracted to, being a wrestler, being in the ring. Was very introverted my whole life, and obviously I'm running around in my underpants. And to be a wrestler, it's very funny to say I'm an introvert, even though that's my work attire. But I hated the idea of talking on the microphone, and obviously the biggest stars in our industry, like Hulk Hogan, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, John Cena, very much known for their talking. So eventually you got to learn how to talk. And I got very fortunate in Florida Championship Wrestling that I had the chance to work with Dusty Rhodes. Because, you know yourself, if the audience out there that don't know, is considered one of the most charismatic, excellent talkers in the history of wrestling. He really brought me out my shell.
Drew, I know this sounds a little corny, but it's probably 3-4 times a week where I watch Dusty Rhodes' Hard Times. You don't know what hard times are, Daddy. It's when the textile workers around this country can't pay their wages, can't buy their food. And I don't know why, but I grew up loving Dusty Rhodes. He was supposed to be the everyman. I know I may not look like the athlete of the day is supposed to look. My belly's just a little bit big. My honey's just a little bit big. But I am bad, brother, and they know I'm bad. And there were 2 bad people, and I can keep going. But the point is, that's what Dusty Rhodes did. Oh, dude, I know it all, man. But that's what Dusty Rhodes did, right? He talked. He was charismatic. It didn't matter what he looked like. That was part of the character. So it's amazing that you learned from Dusty Rhodes. That's really incredible, man.
Yeah, I was sitting in his office countless times, and he would, his faith in me was unbelievable. I didn't believe him half the time. He surely doesn't believe in this kid from Scotland that could be one of the best things in wrestling. I remember he gave me a new character. He wanted me to come out of my shell, and he saw me as this young party playboy from Scotland where I would wear my kill all the time. I'd party across the world, and you did your little Dusty impression there. We've all got a Dusty impression in wrestling. I remember him sitting me down and going, "This is how I see you, baby. I see you as this cool party animal, baby. You're gonna party. You're gonna party all across the world, daddy. You're gonna be my champion. You're the man around here. You're gonna be the biggest thing in wrestling." And sit there just listen to Dusty say all this to me, like, "Oh, he can't believe all this. He can't mean all this." But he meant it. He really brought me out of my shell. Without Dusty Rhodes, I would not be as confident a talker as I am now.
Amazing. Drew McIntyre tonight on Scott Kaplan on 710 ESPN. Drew is the WWE heavyweight champion, and he's going to be battling this weekend against one of my all-time favorites. I'm sorry to tell you, Drew, but Goldberg in the Royal Rumble. What's really interesting about having you tonight is that I was doing a bunch of research, and I called a friend of mine who was a college football teammate of mine, a guy named Matt Bloom. You know this name?
Oh, I know Matt Bloom very well.
Yeah.
Spent time on the road together. We wrestled each other across the world. My return to NXT, so he's now in charge of NXT.
I said, Matt, I'm having Drew McIntyre on the show tonight. Tell me what I got to know. And he told me this great story, and you alluded to it, that when you got here, you were young, you didn't know how to work the mic, you weren't confident, etc. And he told me the story about how you had to leave WWE and go really hone your skills before you came back to WWE. I mean, everybody brags about your story, which I think is really cool. But it kind of, you sort of answered it at the beginning, which was you were consumed with this as a kid. You were going to make this happen, even if they told you had to go to the minor leagues, so to speak, to get yourself back. Is that right?
Yeah, they specifically fired me.
They fired you.
I had to look myself in the mirror after I came to WWE 21 years old, looking for 8 years, all I ever got fired. And I had to look myself in the mirror and understand this was when I first tried, I happy to walk boy. And suddenly, as the years passed by, I felt like they owed me something which they didn't owe. They didn't owe me a thing. I was supposed to be living my dream. I wasn't putting the work in. I wasn't working out in the gym. I wasn't working my interviews. I wasn't trying to get better in all the areas I should be getting better at. And I got fired because of it. It's the best thing that could have happened to me, because from that day, the day forward, I promised myself I was going to put the work in. every single day from the first moment I woke up to the last moment I went to bed. I was going to be accountable. And at the end of the day, say those.
All right, we got Drew McIntyre on the air tonight. He's breaking up a little bit. He's driving, like he said, from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, to Tampa, Florida. Drew, can you still hear me, man? Uh-oh. Jesse, did we lose Drew? Wait a second. Drew, can you still hear me? All right, this is live radio, dude. This is what happens sometimes. And I really want to get him back on because he's telling this phenomenal story. It's really incredible to hear him say, and I know that he broke up a little bit, and I'll have him repeat it when we get him back, but to have him say, they fired me. You know, my dream was to be in the WWE. I'm 21 years old. He's this good-looking guy, this big guy who's coming from Scotland. They hire him and they sign him based on potential, and he's not very good. And he said, I wasn't working out. I wasn't doing the things I had to do. They fired me, and I had to go do the minor league circuit to get back to a point where this weekend it's the Royal Rumble. All right, Jesse, you'll let me know if we got him back. If not, here's what we should do. Let us hit the break so that we can try and reestablish contact with Drew McIntyre. Because he's telling a phenomenal story. I'm loving listening to it, but I just know I've been the listener many times where it's like, dude, I can't understand. I can't understand what he's saying. You're acting like it's not breaking up like we understand. No, I understand. I couldn't understand what he said either. So I understand your position. Okay, wait a second. Drew's calling back in. All right, wait a second. Let's not go to the break then. Let's come back to Drew McIntyre. All right, hold on. Jesse's working the phone here. Let's see if we've got good connection. Wife is driving from Fort Lauderdale to Tampa. That's where the Royal Rumble is. Here he is, Drew McIntyre, the World Wrestling Entertainment Champion, getting his second chance at glory. And Jesse's trying to put him back on the air right now. Let me know. Okay, Drew, you still there? All right, hold on. Drew, you still got me?
I'm back.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, dude, you broke up a little bit. Would you just go back to what you were saying about that you got fired? Would you just go back to that?
Oh, yeah. I was so upset I hung up on you. Yeah, I got fired. And like I was saying, it was the biggest wake-up call of my life, the wake-up call I needed. And from that day forward, I really worked my butt off. I traveled all across the world, took whatever wrestling bookings I could take to get better in the ring. Would take any interviews like this, any media opportunities I could get to better my talking, all my weak areas I wanted to improve upon. And that was in the ring and outside the ring. My wife was a bit of a trooper. Like, she worked hard on the man outside the wrestling because honestly, I was just partying way too much at the time. I was burning the candle, not at both ends. The whole damn candle was on fire. And, she helped calm that man down outside the ring. I worked on my game. And finally, when the time was right, I returned to WWE. I got fired. I was a boy. When I returned, I was a man, and I was a man looking to become champion.
Yeah, I love it, man. And now, what I think is kind of cool, because you mentioned you were 21 when you were signed. If you don't mind my asking, how old are you now?
I am 35 now.
Okay, 35. And Goldberg is 54. And I was watching a podcast with him last night. I honestly, I couldn't tell. I've known Bill for a long time, and I'm telling you, Drew, I couldn't tell if he was Goldberg and he was saying this kind of stuff because he was really in Goldberg mode, or if it was Billy, like the regular guy, who was giving his strong opinion. Here's what he was saying. Goldberg was saying on this podcast that his generation of wrestlers, they're the old school, they did it right, etc. Typical stuff that older guys would say, and criticizing what he said were the new generation, guys like yourself, who he's essentially calling soft. And I'm telling you, dude, I really didn't know if he was in character mode or if he was kind of just giving you his real, out of ring opinion. Have you heard this? Do you know about this?
I've seen a few of the quotes from the interviews. I think every generation think they're the best generation and the toughest generation and the coolest generation. It's just, I guess you look throughout history, that's how everyone feels, but it's absolutely not the case. I've been wrestling for, 20 years now, and I've seen a couple of generations, and the in-ring talent we have now are the best in-ring performers of all time. If you look across the board in WWE, like all our superstars can do, from a technical aspect to high-flying aspect, it's never been better. And if you go back to the late 90s, early 2000s, watch those matches and turn the volume off, the in-ring standard wasn't great. The crowd were going wild. It was an awesome time for wrestling, some really cool characters. but the in-ring standard now is unbelievable. There's never been a better roster. We are hard-hitting as hell. I don't know where the soft things comes from. So I'll tell you what, Sunday at the Rumble, Goldberg's going to find out what the leader of the new generation can do and how soft I am when I kick his damn head off.
Yeah, I mean, dude, he's 54 years old. I mean, take it easy, will you? I mean, this guy's got kids. He's got a family to deal with. I mean, take it easy on this guy, will you?
No, he challenged me. You got to get in the ring with a champ, you're going to get knocked out. And I love Goldberg, too. I've been watching him since I was legitimately 12 years old. And Drew, when he was a kid, could never imagine a world where he was world champion. Of course, I imagined being champion one day, but I didn't imagine being champion and wrestling freaking Goldberg. So it's cool. Young Drew is really excited, but Drew, the champion of the world right now, I'm sorry, Bill. You get in the ring with McIntyre, you get your head kicked off, and it's simple as that.
Yeah. Hey, dude, when you were growing up, I'm just curious, like, were there any of the wrestlers that you looked at that you said, I plan to build my body to look like that guy? And I know that probably sounds like a weird question, but I'd be curious to know if you not only modeled your game, but your build after wrestlers from previous generations.
I mean, funny you should say game. I remember when I was really working out hard, 14, 15 years old with my buddy, you know, with the way Triple H used to look in like the year 2000, 2001, when he really came into his own as a main event player. I remember thinking, wow, he looks like such a cool badass. Just built like a Greek god. He had the long hair, wet, blowing water out there. Just having the coolest matches. Was the baddest mofo on the entire planet. And I thought that to me was the ideal wrestler. So I guess Triple H, 2000, 2001.
Wow. All right, Triple H, man. Because I look at, do you remember a guy ravishing Rick Rude? Remember him?
Oh, of course I remember ravishing Rick Rude.
Yeah.
Cool as hell.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, I mean, just physique-wise, I'm like, look, it looks like ravishing Rick Rude, you know? Just the work that you guys have to put in. Could you just describe, like, when you're traveling, and I realize the year has been different, but when you're on the road and you got to work out, and you got to eat right, and you got to hydrate, and you got to travel, and you got to do all this stuff, it's hard to keep yourself looking the way you guys all look, you know, for TV.
Yeah, but you find the time. You know, that's our job. I mean, it's the only job I've ever known. But when you're on the road 4 days a week minimum, sometimes 2 weeks at a time, traveling America, traveling the world, you know, it does get physically and mentally tiring. But realistically, like, I've got a new perspective, you know, since the return to the company. I'm living the dream. If you love something that much, you put in the work. And if you want to be champion of the world, you certainly find the time to get the workouts in.
Yeah, right on. And do I understand that you've got a new documentary coming out about your career? Is that right?
That'd be news to me. I've got a couple in the WWE Network.
There you go. Yeah, that's the one. 24.
24 special.
Yeah.
That's like one of our WWE is unbelievable. If you look at our WWE Network, the documentaries, the chronicles, when they follow, you know, the man and women behind the characters, they do such a good job. And they've really chronicled my story, like, unbelievably. And I feel like an old man. I'm 35 and wrestling a long time, but when you see your story on screen, and, you know, it'll bring a tear, you know, to a tough guy's eye when I see, you know, everything from, like, growing up in Scotland and the sacrifices my family had to make. And, you know, it tells the story of my mother. I won't get, you know, into it, but she was such a big part of my life. She got sick when I was with WWE and inevitably passed, and kind of reliving that again and the downward spiral and finally rising back up, and how important my wife was to my, you know, my success. It really showed, you know, these strong women in my life while also working my butt off to achieve my dreams. So if you're looking for some inspiration, you know, check out that 24. The WWE do incredible jobs with those documentaries.
In Tampa, and the champ Drew McIntyre from the WWE is on Scott Kaplan tonight on 710. Hey, Drew. So my two producers are young guys who are big fans. Jesse and Curtis, I want to give you guys a chance to say hello to and certainly get a question in here with Drew tonight. Champ, if you don't mind. Jesse, what do you got here tonight?
Oh, I have no question. I mean, he already ripped Goldberg a new one. That's all I wanted. Drew McIntyre could have promo on the show that I produced. That's checked off the checklist, and I'm good. I'm all set. I'm gonna listen to that. I'm gonna listen to that a lot.
All right, Curtis, you got anything for the champ?
You need a couple extra hours. If I'm gonna rip Goldberg apart, I've got at least 2 hours in me that I could just.
That's exactly how long we have on the show. Do you want to just go rip Goldberg for 2 hours? I would gladly accept that.
You remember the last time he was on a streak in WCW, 173-0, and they needed a cattle prod to take him down? Like Scott Hall gave him a cattle prod, Kevin Nash beat him. I talked about his new streak. Whenever he shows back up in WWE, every year he shows up He challenges a champion and he beats them. That's the new streak he's on. Said, I'm not going to need a freaking cattle prod to end his streak this Sunday. All I'm going to need is one Claymore.
Oh, love it. Yes. Oh, I can't wait for that. I'll be watching closely on Sunday.
Curtis, you got anything for Drew McIntyre here?
I do. Well, Jesse and I are marking really hard right now over Drew being with us.
Oh, extremely.
So I kind of wanted to ask about this whole, wrestling in the Thunderdome thing. How has that affected? Does it affect, the way you are trying to put that product out there when the fans aren't there and you're looking at 30,000 TV screens all over you?
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of used to it now, but the times we're living in, the Thunderdome is just an amazing creation. Obviously, you saw the shows in the Performance Center, which is basically a warehouse with no fans. That was a little more difficult. Without our fans there, our number one superstar, they really bring the emotion to the shows. But the creation of the Thunderdome, it's, what you expect from WWE when you tune in, the lights, the lasers, the pyro, that bigger-than-life feel, and it feels awesome as a superstar as well to be in that Thunderdome. But the biggest thing of all, was getting those fans back, even if it's just virtually, just to see their faces and to hear them over the speaker in real time is such a difference maker. For the fan at home, it's more palatable to watch, and as a superstar, it feels like, okay, we can't have the fans here, physically, at least we've got them here virtually, and I know it's real time because the very first Raw, we had that Thunderdome. I asked the producers, I was about to walk to the ring, is this real time? Yes, Drew, it is. Okay. I never told them what I was going to do. I just walked out live on Raw, no safety net, and said, I want everyone on the screens to give me a thumbs up right now. I was doing a little test live on the air, and I turned around and looked at the screens, 1,000 people at a time, and time stood still. I went, oh, God, he lied to me. There's a time delay. But then every single thumb came up at once, like right as soon as I asked him to do it. It's just, I was panicking for a second, and I thought, man, this is really cool. We're back. And WrestleMania, we're looking to be having fans in the building. We are having fans in the building. We're so excited to get them there physically, but the Thunderdome's been such a difference maker.
Yeah, WrestleMania is coming up. Let's see here. WrestleMania 37. This is in April. And this is going to be in the same stadium where the Super Bowl is going to be played. So Royal Rumble this weekend, Super Bowl next weekend. Did you say you live in Tampa, Drew?
I do. I live in St. Petersburg, very close to Raymond James Stadium.
Are you possibly going to go to the Super Bowl? Have you met Tom Brady in the last year since he's been in town? Tell me.
I have not met Tom Brady yet. I believe I'm part of some event prior to the Super Bowl. I've got Shaq's, what's it called? Shaq Bowl. My wife's just telling me Shaq Bowl I'm taking part in, which we're having a pre-Super Bowl event with a bunch of celebrities, and myself and The Miz will be taking part in funny challenges, and then I'm going to try and finagle my way into the Super Bowl. So I can watch the game for one and see the Bucs doing well for once. They've been terrible for 13 years I've lived in Tampa. Also, I'm going to do some scouting for WrestleMania.
Gotcha. Yeah, the Bucs were terrible. Are you picking Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, your hometown team, to win the Super Bowl in your hometown?
Of course, I got to pick the Bucs because then all my neighbors and friends in Tampa will be showing up at my door. I'll beat them all up, but I'd feel bad for them when I beat them up. But yeah, it's cool to see the Bucs doing well. Tampa's been on a bit of a run. The hockey team did it. You've got the world champion living in Tampa, and if the Bucs can pull it off too, it'll be the town of champions.
That's right. All right. Well, in L.A., everybody goes, well, wait a second. We got the Lakers and the Dodgers, and in Tampa, had a chance at the Dodgers, lost that World Series. But yeah, if the Buccaneers win the Super Bowl, Tampa has got the world champion in WWE. They could have the Super Bowl champ. They could have, well, they already did have the NHL Stanley Cup champions. Hey, Drew, before you go, we asked this question earlier to wrestling fans. I'd be curious to hear your opinion on this. And I tweeted this to you. And by the way, I appreciate the follow on Twitter. That's very cool, man. What is your favorite?
Follow right before I started driving, so I didn't see any of the questions.
Well, listen to this question. Let me know what you think. With the Royal Rumble this Sunday, we were asking this question. What is your favorite type of wrestling match? Is it a Royal Rumble / a Battle Royal, tables, ladders, and chairs, a cage, Hell in the Cell, or War Games, a submission, I Quit, or a lumberjack match? Or maybe you've got another match that's your favorite. What's your favorite kind of match to be in?
Most of the ones without the weapons. Actually, I don't mind the weapons themselves. It's the ones where I have to fall off high places. Tables, ladders, and chairs. Recently, I did a TLC match. Hurt like hell. AJ Styles messed up my knee good. It was hurting for about 2 months. The Hell in the Cell, I wrestled Randy Orton, where I lost the WWE Championship for a few weeks. I fell off the side of the cage, and it's legitimately 15 feet high. It was the worst fall of my 20-year career. I bit through my tongue. I thought I broke something in my back. It was a terrible, terrible fall. So basically, I'll go for that. You said Royal Rumble first. I'll go with the Royal Rumble since I won it last year, and that's the reason I got the opportunity at the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. So some lucky person, some lucky man, some lucky women women's going to win that Royal Rumble on Sunday, and they're going to get that opportunity for the title at Mania like I did last year.
Well, you're just beating up on all the old football player type guys. I mean, Goldberg this week, and you got Lesnar last year at WrestleMania. Yeah, man, you're just taking them all down. The champ, Drew McIntyre, WWE heavyweight champion. Hey, Drew, it is great to talk to you tonight. Thanks for all the time. Appreciate your wife driving so we could all chat. And thanks for calling back in when the phone broke up. It is great to talk to you. Good luck this weekend at the Royal Rumble. And anytime, man, you are always welcome here, brother. Thank you.
No, thank you for having me. It's been great. We'll do it again in the future when things get back to normal. We're going to do it in person. So I'm looking forward to that day.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too. Big time. Hey, Drew, congratulations on all your success and the great inspirational story you told tonight. We appreciate you, man.
Thank you all. Take care, guys.
All right. Yeah, Drew McIntyre. All right, Curtis. What'd you think about that, man?
You don't know how giddy Jesse and I are being here, giggling like little school children.
Oh, I popped so hard, Cap. I popped so hard like I watched Edge on last year's Royal Rumble when AJ Styles made his debut. Oh, that was I asked him to cut a promo and he did it.
Just now?
With Goldberg.
Oh.
When we got him back, he cut a promo on Bill legitimately. We could feel it.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
That was fantastic.
That was really cool.
Terrific and fantastic. But now next, we got to get Matt Bloom in here.
Yeah, you guys want Matt?
Oh,
he'll do it.
110%.
Yeah, so this is my buddy. Played college football with this guy, right?
We have to get him this is super selfish, but we have to get him because he's our link to the Good Brothers, who are Carl Anderson and Drew Gallows, who are by far my favorite. They're not in the WWE anymore. They're part of Impact and AEW, but they are two of my favorite wrestlers of all time.
You know what I really loved hearing Drew McIntyre talk about?
His accent.
I loved hearing him talk about the fact that he got fired, and then it was Dusty Rhodes who told him, you could be great. This is what we're going to do with you, and how Dusty believed in him and taught him the art of the interview.
Yeah,
you know?
And Dusty had a lot of connection with those superstars who are up top today because he worked really closely at that, the performance center that the WWE has down there in Florida.
All right, let me ask everybody a question. Did I lose you all tonight, or did everybody kind of get into that? Like, I don't know this era of wrestlers the way that Jesse does or that Curtis does. I know the old school. And I'm just asking, did everybody, to me, that was not a story about, hey, tell us about wrestling against this guy or tell us about this match. It was more like, tell us the story, dude, because this guy's a pro athlete. And, whether it was, working your way into the first round of the NFL draft and becoming a Hall of Fame player or living your dream of wanting to be a pro wrestler and then getting fired and having to look in the mirror and then battling back. And then now he's the champ and he's the star of it all. I found that to be really cool. Really, really cool, as a matter of fact. All right, stick around. We are halfway through tonight. We've been getting these 90-minute shows tonight. Thank goodness we get the full 3 hours. Not only are we broadcasting on radio, but you can find us tonight on YouTube, on Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook. Our live video stream being brought to you by Puente Hills Toyota. Puente Hills Toyota is the house of yes. And let me tell you something. We appreciate them being a part of our video live stream. And by the way, they're loving it too. Because let me tell you something. You guys are cool with this. You guys are getting what we're doing. Yeah, if you're in your car right now, you're listening on radio. But when you get out of your car or if you're in your home right now, you can put us on your smart TV. By the way, if you do that, tweet me at Scott Kaplan. Let me see that you're watching on YouTube. Let me see that you're watching on Twitter. Take a picture if you've put us up on your big screen TV. Tweet me at Scott Kaplan and let me see what you're doing, where you're watching, what device you're using, etc. So we're out there because we know that wherever you are, that's where we want to be. It's Friday night. You want to jump in? You got it, man. Bring it. 877-710 ESPN. Or 710-3776. Listen, we got a lot to get to tonight. I want to get back to the Rams. I want to get back to the Lakers. And I saw today that a very, very famous sporting figure and a very, very famous figure around Los Angeles got his vaccination shot today. And guess what? A lot of people were like, why? Why'd they give him the vaccination shot? Let me tell you who I'm talking about. Stick around. Scott Kaplan on 710 ESPN.
.710 ESPN is giving away cash
again.
You have just won $1,000.
Way to go, Gil!
No way. Oh, awesome.
Anushka from Cyprus. Anushka,
Did I really win?
You really won, man.
you have won
Holy
$1,000
smokes.
cash.
That's crazy.
It's the Mission 18 cash giveaway
Your chance at $180 a day.
and the grand prize of $1,800.
It's Mission 18, Los Angeles.
All you have to do is text the word mission to 40705 right now to get your name qualified.
Beginning Tuesday afternoon with Sedano and LZ, we start calling out names, and it could be yours that wins cash.
Giving away cash for 18 straight days.
The Mission 18 cash giveaway from LA's Mega Cash Sports Station.
710 ESPN.
Yo, Scott Kaplan on a Friday night here on 710 ESPN, broadcasting on the traditional radio airwaves of 710 Los Angeles and streaming on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, live video streaming if you want to hang out tonight. So I mentioned before the break, I want to mention this again, pretty famous guy today put his video vaccination on Twitter. A very famous former sports figure, a very famous Los Angeles personality. And he showed the video like, hey, I'm getting the vaccine right now. By the way, speaking of the vaccine, from what I've heard from people who've gotten it, when you get the first wave, it seems like you're fine, sore arm, that's kind of the deal. But after the second one, there's been a lot of reports of people getting like symptoms for about 2 days. I was talking to a buddy of mine today who is a doctor, and he was telling me he's an oncologist, hematologist. Sounds really interesting because he's working around people that are ill, and he's in the hospital, and he's got to make sure he doesn't get sick. And he actually got it, and it knocked him down for like 2 weeks. And he was telling me, I said, "How you doing?" And he said, "I'm good. I've gotten the vaccine." He goes, "But I'm worried about getting the second vaccine because so many people I know have gotten it, and then it knocked him down for a couple of days." And he was down for, like, I'm telling you, 2 weeks. He's 70-something years old, and he's still working. He's still in the hospital. And he's like, it just knocked me down for a while. And, you hear other reports from people, and they're like, nah, it didn't really hurt me that bad. Like Spiro Ditas came on last week. He's like, yeah, it wasn't really that bad. A couple days, it wasn't so bad. But the vaccine, did you see today that O.J. Simpson got his vaccine and put it all on Twitter and is wearing a mask? This is what caught me as kind of weird and funny. But OJ's got a mask that says Juice on it. Like, all right, I mean, I got it. It's your nickname, Juice. I get it. But I don't know. It's just like a little too cutesy for me, And I saw he was wearing a golf hat today from Callaway Golf. My friends at Callaway Golf, all my people at Callaway Golf, they're like, is that good marketing, product placement, or is that not good marketing, product placement? That Juice is rocking the lid on Twitter, getting his vaccine. My parents got the vaccine. They live down in Florida. Waited in a park for 5 hours in their car, moving car by car by car until they finally got up and got the vaccine. They got it. At least round one. They got round one. Again, I don't know about round two. I've heard a lot of rumors and things about people getting sick in round two, but get that vaccine, man. Let's all get back to life. I even read this today that the restaurants are opening in L.A. Great. The restaurants are opening. But hold on a second. You can go to the restaurant. You can wear your mask in. You can sit at the table. You'll take your mask off. There'll be half the capacity that there used to be. You can go to the restaurants. However, if you own a restaurant and you have televisions in that restaurant, don't you dare turn those on. Don't you do it. I thought to myself, that seems so dumb. You mean to tell me that you're saying, look, we're loosening up. Business is coming back. The stay-at-home order has been lifted. It looks like maybe youth sports are coming back. Perhaps high school sports will come back before we know it. All of this amongst numbers that still say it's growing, it's expanding. But okay, we're opening up the restaurants. No TV. Why? What's the thought process here? The thought is, well, we saw how people congregated when the Dodgers won the World Series or when the Lakers won the championship. We know that the Super Bowl's coming up. No TVs. You can open. You can invite people in. You can have outdoor dining. People can come sit. They can enjoy, but no TVs. Excuse me. It's like a Friday night. There's no Super Bowl. Well, I'm not going to have 500 people standing on top of each other in a bar with no masks. It's a TV. It's just a TV. Why can't I have a basketball game on? Utah's leading Dallas 73-49. Who cares? I don't know. Seems kind of dumb to me. The restaurants can open, but don't turn those TVs on. Get in trouble. All right, if you want to jump in tonight, go for it. 877-710-ESPN, 877-710-3776. Anything, man. It's all out there tonight. It's Friday night, doing our thing. Let me go to the phones. Here's one of the best callers we got going. Manuel in Gardenia. What's going on, Manny?
You're too kind to life, L'Chaim, Sir Scott. Hey, you got me once again, dude. Like, I'm not a wrestling fan per se. I've heard the Good Brothers, and I'm with Jesse the Body, man. You need to get those guys on, too, after your boy Matt Bloom, because they're sports fans. They call Romy in every now and then, and they're good stuff, man. They're literally good brothers, man. Good smack, good sports talk, so I can't wait till old Scotty Caps and Kaplan's crew get our guys, the Good Brothers, as well as Matt Bloom. And that guy was a beauty, man. This guy, what did you say his name was? Mcintyre, right?
Yeah, Drew McIntyre. So I'm with you, dude.
He was a beauty.
He was good, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah. Hey, He reminded me, you remember Rowdy Roddy Piper, right? Also from Scotland.
Yeah.
You know, because I watched wrestling when I was a kid like you, Scott, you know, in the golden age. I was lucky enough to go to the Great American Bash back in the day. Guys like Dusty Rhodes, Lex Luger, Kerry, Magnum TA, right?
I'm listening. Yeah.
Yeah, to name a few, man, at the LA Sports Arena. And obviously, you know, back in the day when the Hulkster was reigning supreme in the WWF, good stuff. You remember the Saturday morning cartoons?
Dude, I mean, between Saturday morning cartoons that were wrestling cartoons, one of my favorites is when Mr. T got his own cartoon. Let me tell you something, sucker. I got my own cartoon. You gonna watch my cartoon. I'm going to come to your house. I'm going to take your TV. I'm going to give it to somebody who wants to watch my cartoon. Yeah, I love Mr. T. I loved all that stuff.
I remember, but I'm talking about, you know, the Captain Lou and Hogan and Roddy Piper were the cartoons. Remember that?
I do, man. Hey, listen, Roddy Piper, when he was done wrestling, I don't know if you ever saw this or not, but he went on like a comedy tour. Did you ever? So he would literally, dude.
I saw him in They Live. He was working that.
I'm telling you, like the Comedy Store. He'd go to the Comedy Store and he'd stand up on stage and he'd just tell stories for an hour, you know. And it was gold.
Man.
It wasn't really funny. It just was gold, you know. And like you take a date to the Comedy Store. You're like, yo, we're going to go to the Comedy Store. You're like, oh, cool, this is going to be fun. And then it's Rowdy Roddy Piper telling wrestling stories. None of it's funny, but I'm like entranced. You know?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, man. No, but Rowdy Roddy, dude, he was a treasure. God rest his soul.
Yeah, man.
Nah, man. Hey, Scott, like I said, I can't say enough. Like everything you're doing, like just all the boundaries, you're just knocking them down, man. I love it. Can't wait till you have Bill Walton on again.
I love Bill Walton.
Have a good show, man.
Yeah, man. Appreciate
I'll
you,
be
Manny.
listening.
All right, dog. Thank you, man. Manuel in Gardenia. Yeah, dude, I'm going to bring Bill Walton back on soon. I actually called Bill the other day to start working on that, and he's been hustling, dude. He's been calling college basketball games, which is kind of funny because I don't see any college basketball at all.
But is he calling them from home or is he actually traveling?
He's been traveling.
Good for him.
Yeah, he's been on the road. Like, and we can talk to him about it. But you know, it's the kind of thing where it's like, hey, Bill, I'm going to say this, and then you talk for the next 15 minutes. Okay.
I mean, that's essentially how it goes, right?
Right. It's like, hey, Bill, so tell me about traveling for college basketball, and then he'll just start quoting the Grateful Dead, and
yeah,
and then
that's
he'll
exactly what I was going to say.
Start talking about riding his bike, and then you know, at some point he'll talk about John Wooden. And then, you know, when he finally is like, what am I even talking about? Then he'll be like, Scott, what were you saying? I'll be like, forget it. It's cool. Let's take a quick break. Time out. It's all good.
Yep, pretty much. It's like, oh, well, we got to end the show now.
Manny,
Thanks
I'm with you, man. We'll get him. Hey, listen, I like that interview, too, with Drew McIntyre. I think it's kind of cool. If you're not necessarily the world's biggest wrestling fan, or maybe you don't watch wrestling at all or have zero interest, but to hear the story of a person who's like, this was my dream, it came true, I screwed it up because I didn't work hard, I didn't do the work that had to be done, and then got fired and had to look in the mirror, and then I had to really go to work, and then nothing was going to stop me. I mean, that's Mamba mentality. And let me tell you something right now. Don't think I'm being corny when I say that, because this week, with the 1 year since Kobe tragically died, let me tell you something, man. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but this was one of those reset kind of weeks, you know, where you had to go, whoa, oh my, this happened a year ago, and so much other stuff has happened, and still so much stuff is happening. What's today's date right now? What's today's date?
29.
January 29, 2021.
Okay, some people call it December 60th, 2020, you know, because the world didn't go back to pre-2020 normality. It's still in 2020 hysteria.
And then those people are a little extreme. Yeah, no, come on. We're in 2021.
Look at our man Curtis now. Curtis told me during the commercial break that he put his journalism degree to work when he threw out that question to Drew McIntyre.
Right?
Curtis, I see you moving more into the world of financial journalism now, given your investment in AMC.
Twitch is coming next week. Let's do it.
Yeah, you should start financial advice on Twitch.
Oh, man, I'd subscribe to that. I definitely subscribe to that.
Okay, you got your first subscriber. What do you think, Curtis?
Let's go. Let's do it.
Let's go.
But you are right. This whole week for me, this felt like my reset week, starting with the Kobe thing. I think that was kind of like, man, this is when 2020 took the downturn for me. So I feel like, for me, I kind of feel like this is the week to push it all behind and move forward, which is kind of, do some new stuff like this.
That's why I tried to tell you, man. I tried to tell you earlier today, Jesse, this was a long week. You go, nah, it's a long week because we came off a break, and then we had this, and then we had a day off.
You want to know what?
It was a heavy week. You know, you had the Kobe thing early in the week, and then, you know, we had these late shows because we were getting on the air late, and then there was all this, you know, all of Curtis's financial movement and transactions along the week, and the whole world turning upside down, and then we get to Friday night, man, and then this Drew McIntyre story, just inspirational right off into the weekend. Okay, coming up, let's get to the radar. What other stories are out there tonight that are making news that should make it onto our radar? We're going to find out together next. And still to come, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are in the Super Bowl in their home stadium. But when was the last time they were there? And what's happened since? Let me answer those questions coming back. Stick around. It's Scott Kaplan on 710 ESPN. .710 ESPN. Time for the radar, and then I'm going to get to the story of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back in the Super Bowl, this time in their home stadium. But when did the Buccaneers play last time in a Super Bowl? Where were they? And by the way, it's such a long time ago.
Where were you?
It's so long ago that you'll start to hear things that have happened in the world since the last time the Buccaneers were in a Super Bowl.
A lot of things have happened since then.
By the way, I was there, man. I know exactly where I was. It was one of my favorite Super Bowls. One of my favorite Super Bowls that I attended. I'll say that. And we'll get to it. We'll answer the questions coming up. But Jesse the Body is ready with the radar.
All right, Cap. So first thing on the radar is actually some breaking news. Dodger front. Outfielder Jock Peterson signs a 1-year, $7 million deal with the Chicago Cubs. Mm-hmm. He was known for his left-handed power. He hit 123 home runs and 108 doubles in just over 680 games, regular season games played for the Dodgers from 2015 to 2019. Posted a career best 36 home runs in 2019, but he will always be remembered in a Dodger uniform for one thing, and that's for showing up in the playoffs, because in October, when Jock was with the team, it became Jocktober.
Yeah, it's a crowded outfield that the Dodgers have. And to get an opportunity to go to the Chicago Cubs and become an everyday player, I mean, that's what these guys want, because you said he signed a 1-year, $7 million deal, right?
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure if the Dodgers really wanted, I'm sure they could have done something to afford that. So it's not it's not an issue of money. It's just an issue of playing time.
Right. And so for him, he's like, I got to get out of here. I got to go play because I only want to sign a 1-year deal. How come? Because nobody's going to give me the kind of money I think I can make if I'm an everyday player. I got to have 500 at-bats. And if I can get that, I can get back to hitting 38 home runs in a season. And so if you're Jock Peterson, it's like, I'll take a 1-year deal. $7 million's a ton of money in the real world. It's not a ton of money in the baseball world. And you know what? Let me prove it. And then I'll get the big money deal. All right. Jock Peterson on his way to the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah, so we wish all the luck to Jock except for when he faces the Dodgers. All right, so moving alongside, let's see which one we're going to do.
Just real quick on baseball, did I hear that there was breaking news earlier tonight that Nolan Arenado, the third baseman of Colorado, is leaving and being traded to St. Louis.
To the St. Louis Cardinals.
And, it's so interesting. People around the country think the Lakers get what they want. The Dodgers get what they want. Well, you know what? St. Louis is not L.A., but that's Baseball Town, USA, and that's one of the true heritage organizations in Major League Baseball, and I feel like they get what they want. They find ways to make things happen, and every year the Cardinals are there. They are competing for a championship. They're in the postseason, and getting Arenado, that's a really big deal if that deal does go down.
Yeah, it looks like it is, and they're like sneaky good. It's like you don't really see them or do anything in the regular season, and in the playoffs, they're like in the last round, and it's like how they even get here? And I'm still very bitter because the Cardinals were always the team the Dodgers just couldn't get over, and still can't really. I mean, I don't think they faced them, but
no, they didn't because the Cardinals got knocked out in the playoffs this year in the first round by the Padres, which is what set up the Padres and the Dodgers.
Great. I love it when the Padres.
Yeah, this deal looks like it's all done. Sources star third baseman Arenado traded to the Cardinals right there on the homepage of ESPN.
So look at that. So the Dodgers don't get Arenado, but it's okay. The Dodgers will be fine. You know what? Since we're gonna keep still talking about baseball, I got a pretty big story in baseball as well.
Is that right?
The kid is back. Do you know what I'm talking about when I say the kid?
Well, when I hear the kid, I think Ken Griffey Jr.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He is back in the big leagues. MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred announced today that Ken Griffey will serve as a senior advisor to him, and his role will specifically focus on consulting the commissioner's office with a variety of issues, including emphasis on baseball operations and youth baseball development, including the improvement of diversity at amateur levels of the sport. So he's basically becoming an ambassador to the sport, and I don't think there is any other person that's better suited for a role like that than Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah, it's the commissioner who's not really well-liked. Generally, commissioners aren't well-liked, but this one in particular is not as well as his predecessor. I also saw that not long ago they hired Theo Epstein, who was the CEO of the Cubs, and prior to that, he was the architect of the Boston Red Sox in their World Series, and then he moved to Chicago and built a World Series team there. And Epstein is considered by many to be a future realistic candidate to become the next commissioner of baseball. So interesting how he's bringing in all this front office help, the commissioner.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he's realizing that he should probably surround himself with. I don't know what's going on inside there, but clearly you're bringing in someone like Theo Epstein, who's smart, who understands the game, who has proven himself that he can do the job and win, and then you're bringing in someone like Ken Griffey Jr., who is admired by nearly everyone and was a generational talent when he played baseball. So I think this is a great move for baseball, but it's still kind of shadowed by Rob Manfred. That
Ken Griffey Jr. got mad at me one year at an All-Star game.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah, it was probably, I'm going to guess, like late 90s, probably like 1999-ish, somewhere in that neighborhood, And the All-Star game was in Denver, as I recall. And so Ken Griffey, at the time, was doing a lot of fetching about not wanting to be in the home run derby, you know? Like, oh, I don't want to be in the home run derby. Oh, it's such a pain in my ass, you know? We just get done playing, and I got to come back, and I got to be in the home run derby, and it screws up my swing, and I don't want to do it. And so I went into the locker room before one of these all-star games. I was a young guy. I didn't know what I was doing. I had no idea what I was doing. And I'm standing next to Griffey, and I said, so, Ken, because I figure we're probably like about the same age, you know? Like I was probably 28, 29, if he was about the same age. I said, so what's the deal, man? Like what's your problem with the home run derby? You know? And he snapped at me right away. He was pissed. Like he was not happy. Like, yo, who are you?
Triggered.
Like, where'd you come from, kid? I'm like, yeah, you're the kid. So.
Well, that must have been awkward.
It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing for me.
All right, well, good luck to the kid, and hopefully, we'll get things fixed on the baseball side. So I got one more for you, Cap.
Okay. Let me have it.
So it's not really big news. It's news that probably people expected. But it was announced today that Coachella and the Stagecoach Festival are canceled yet again.
Yeah.
According to an announcement, according to an announcement by the Riverside County Public Health Officer, he said the events were shuttered based on concerns of a fall resurgence of COVID-19. The global live events industry is estimated to take in a $30 billion with the B hit since March 2020, according to a public trade industry public trade publication.
Hey Curtis, do you think that maybe the live event industry this is a short squeeze? Maybe. I mean, maybe you should invest in live shows or something. You know, I mean, they're only down $30 billion from last year. Maybe there's some kind of short squeeze you could come up with. What do you think?
No, after Fire Festival, screw those guys.
Oh, that's a great documentary.
So look, I got to say this. Truth be told, I've never been to Coachella. Okay,
it's great,
and I've never been to Stagecoach.
And I've never been to.
Even though I know the area in the desert quite well, I've never been to either of those festivals. But I'll say this: I love music festivals. And I love live music, and it just bums me out for everybody involved, from the venues to the promoters to the musicians to the people who work at these venues. It just really bums me out that we haven't gotten it back yet. But I will say this. Think about the progress we're making. You can go to a restaurant. You can't look at a television that's on in a restaurant, and if you look at one that's off, even then they may come over and say, excuse me, what are you doing? Don't look at that television. So things are loosening up, but Coachella is usually when? What's the date of Coachella?
It's always around mid-April.
Yeah, so you can't do that this year.
Yeah.
I would say this. My thought is that by the second half of the baseball season, by the 4th of July, I'm going to tell you 4th of July 2021, America is going to celebrate our resurgence. We're all going to be hugging it out. We're all going to be identifying ourselves vaccinated. How about you? Yeah, me too. All right, hug me. You know, let's. I haven't touched another person in a long time. Come, give me a hug. I think by 4th of July, we're celebrating America's resurgence post-COVID. That's what I think. I think we'll all be vaccinated.
I hope so too. That'd be great, because that's why I brought it up, because I really miss live music. I miss going to shows. When I'm listening to music, a song will come on and I'm immediately taken back to, it's like, I remember the last time I saw this group at this show, or, recently I was remembering, Coachella. I went from 3 years, from 2013 to 2016. Those probably 3 of the best times of my life. I absolutely love it. If you have a chance to go and you can withstand going and withstand the camping, you have to do it. But you have to camp.
Do you have a bunch of pictures of yourself out there? Like, oh my God, I can't believe I did this.
I do, but there's a lot of gaps. So there's a lot of point where I take a lot of pictures and then it just stops, and then I don't have any pictures for like a whole day. And then I have it's kind of scattered, because I'm there and I'm one of the people who will not like when you record the performance on your phone. So I'm very actively trying to pay attention to the actual performance than trying to record or take pictures. I was once at a show in Green Day. The lead singer from Green Day, Billy Joe Armstrong.
Yeah, he's like this. He goes, put your phones down. He's like literally screaming at everybody on the stage. He's like, you're looking at me through your phone. What are you going to do with the video of this afterwards? Enjoy what's going on in front of you, dude.
That's pretty much what I did. So when I was there, I'm a free spirit. I love, oh man, just talking about it just takes me back. I can't wait. And I was going to go to that Coachella too because I really wanted to see Rage Against the Machine. But I've never seen one of my favorite bands. And so it makes me saddle around. But, of course, it's something that's expected, and you're not surprised.
Yeah, I used to love also the Kaboo Festival. I don't know if anybody ever went down to San Diego at the Del Mar Fairgrounds for Kaboo.
Dude,
it was that was an amazing festival. I mean, they had everybody that you wanted to see. And, man, I saw Foo Fighters there a couple years ago, and it was one of the best shows I'd seen. All right, listen, let me keep rolling. Coming up, let me get back to the Super Bowl here because I haven't gotten into it yet tonight. Tampa Bay, Tom Brady brings the Buccaneers in his first year, first time in the NFC, brings this lowly franchise to the Super Bowl in their hometown, in their home stadium. But when was the last time the Bucs were in the Super Bowl, and what has happened in the world since? Let me get to that story coming up. This is Scott Kaplan on 710 ESPN.
710 ESPN is giving away cash
again.
You have just won $1,000.
Way to go, Gil!
No way. Oh, awesome.
Anushka from Cyprus. Anushka.
Did I really win?
You really won, man.
You have won $1,000 cash.
That's crazy.
It's the Mission 18 cash giveaway.
Your chance at $180 a day.
And the grand prize of $1,800.
It's Mission 18, Los Angeles.
All you have to do is text the word mission to 40705 right now to get your name qualified.
Beginning Tuesday afternoon with Sedano and LZ, we start calling out names, and it could be yours that wins cash.
Giving away cash for 18 straight days.
The Mission 18 cash giveaway from LA's Mega Cash Sports Station.
710 ESPN.
Friday night. Scott Kaplan on 710 ESPN. Glad to be with everybody. If you are listening on the radio, awesome. That's the way you should be listening. But there are so many other options. You can watch our live video stream. We're on YouTube, on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook. All you have to do is search us out, ESPN Los Angeles, ESPN LA. You'll find us. We're all over the place. And let me just say thanks to Puente Hills Toyota because they are the sponsor of our live stream. And I'm so stoked that when, we do all these analytics reports, and we find out, we know who's where on which platform. And, there's lots of demographic information that's available on these platforms. I mean, they make it easy for you. And to see the number of people that are engaging with our broadcast, not just on traditional radio, but through all these video streams, dude, stoked. Glad you guys are here on a Friday night and wishing you a great weekend. Let's all stay dry out there. I'm telling you, man, here in my home studio, it was raining and windy last night. I thought my house was going to blow over, dude. And then there's this big tree behind my house, and it's got these very heavy branches, and I'm like paranoid that this giant heavy branch is going to crash through. Not my house. Like, take my kitchen. That's fine. Just don't crash through the studio. And that's what I'm worried about, is I've turned one of these bedrooms into a studio, and now all I'm worried about is this tree crashing through the top. So, hey, if you're just getting with us, what I was talking about before the break was this. The Buccaneers are back in the Super Bowl. And this time, they get to play the Super Bowl in their home stadium. And I say they're back, not like they're a regular attendee of the Super Bowl. I mean, Tom Brady is, so he just brought these guys along for the ride. So the Buccaneers are in the Super Bowl, but when was the last time Tampa was in the Super Bowl? Because as I recall the last time, Super Bowl 37, and I know this simply and I hope I'm getting the year right or the Super Bowl number right.
You actually did. I just checked it right now. Okay. Good job.
Super Bowl 37.
Golf
the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are playing the Oakland Raiders. And here's the story that I remember from that Super Bowl because I went to the game. It was in San Diego. And I had a buddy of mine who was an assistant coach of the Buffalo Bills at the time, and he and his wife flew out, and me and my wife at the time, we all went to that game that day. And I'm trying to remember who had the halftime show. Like, No Doubt was a halftime show. Gwen Stefani. It was great. It was a great day. It was a Super Bowl under the sun, too. West Coast Super Bowl without a dome. And so it was really kind of a fun thing to be at. But what was really great about that Super Bowl, as I recall, was that John Gruden had been the coach of the Raiders. Then he left the Raiders, and he took over Tony Dungy's team in Tampa and led Tony's team that he could not get to the Super Bowl. Gruden was the difference maker, or sort of. And Gruden led that team to the Super Bowl. And Gruden had been the coach of the Raiders, and now he's the coach of Tampa Bay. And Gruden knows everything that Oakland's doing. And there's, famous stories from that game where John Lynch, who's the Hall of Fame finalist safety, and he tells the story that they knew every play before they ran it because Gruden had installed it in Oakland. And the coach that the Raiders had at the time, you'll have to fact check me on this, but I believe it was Bill Callahan, who's a NFL coaching lifer. Bill Callahan. Yeah, is that him?
Yeah,
Bill Callahan was on the other side.
2 for 2 so far.
Yeah, so not bad. And there was a big story the night before that Super Bowl. There was an offensive lineman from the Raiders. I can't remember his name. Brooks something, Barrett something. And he bailed the night before the game and went to Tijuana and didn't show up. Nobody could find him. Got suspended for the game.
Simone.
I don't know. Somebody's going to have to tell me. I think I'm right on that.
You are, because I remember that. I was 12, but I remember that weird story coming out the day before.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was at that game, and it's one of my all-time favorite Super Bowls. I'm not really sure why, other than I was there for that one. I was there for a couple of them, a few Super Bowls, but that one in particular stands out to me. And it stands out now because Tampa Bay is back in the Super Bowl. And I say it like Tom Brady has brought these guys along. I have talked about this during the week, but I am just so, every year, the more he does, the more I'm just fascinated by Tom Brady. I mentioned having a life reset this week with Kobe Bryant, and people talk about the Mamba mentality. You think about Brady. What's the Brady mentality? Because is there a better leader? Has there ever been a leader? Can you think of a guy who you consider a better leader in pro sports ever? Brady, incredible. So, Jesse, tell me what has happened in the world since the Buccaneers, because remember, Curtis was 12. As a 12-year-old guy, little did we know that he was going to grow up to become this financial journalist and expert in the stock market. That we did not know. We couldn't have predicted that, Curtis. We wouldn't have known this.
And I met my idol, who I chose as my favorite football player because we worked at the same station.
And that was?
Don't get it twisted, homeboy.
Deshaun Johnson.
Straight up the truth, man. Yeah, he was on that Tampa Super Bowl team. That's right. Jerry Rice was on the Raiders that year.
He was.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking about it now. It's like Tim Brown and Jerry Rice were the receivers for the Raiders that year.
Do you remember who was their quarterback?
Of the Raiders?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say Rich Gannon.
Yep, and he actually won MVP that year.
Yeah, and then on the other side, Brad Johnson was the quarterback for the Buccaneers.
Yep, Brad Johnson.
Yeah, and Keyshawn was on that Tampa team. Warren Sapp.
Derek Brooks.
Yeah, Derek Brooks, that's right.
Yep, John Lynch.
Maybe Simeon Rice.
Oh, he definitely was on that team.
Rondé Barber.
Yes.
Rondé Barber, too.
Very
Man,
good.
that defense was amazing.
Yeah, they were great. That was a great team. So the Buccaneers
Mike Allstott. How about that?
Oh, Mike Allstott's a good one.
Fullback. Oh, that's a good pull, Curtis. That's a good pull.
I have a personal connection to this game, actually, now that you're talking about it.
Tell me more.
That was the first football game I remember watching the Super Bowl, and I picked the Bucs as my favorite team because I liked that they looked cooler than the Raiders did, and I was watching it at my dad's restaurant at the time that he had just bought. And that was my introduction to football and what started everything today.
The fact that you said that the Bucs look cooler than the Raiders, Al Davis is probably turning.
I like the pirate ship, man. That pirate ship's cool.
Oh, hold up. Do you like the pirate ship or do you like the pirate ship in the stadium? Two different things.
The ship's tight. Bring back the creamsicle jerseys too.
Oh, dude.
Oh, those are definitely going to be on the way back. They have some kind of cult following despite their ugliness.
No, I wish they would wear those creamsicle uniforms in the Super Bowl.
Imagine Tom Brady in that creamsicle uniform.
Dude, he would look rad. He'd look amazing. So listen, so that was 2003, but that was the 2002 season. If I have it all right, if I've got all my math right. Okay, so that's the last time the Buccaneers were in the Super Bowl. Tom Brady goes to the Buccaneers and in 1 year takes a downtrodden, laughing stock of a franchise and ownership group, puts everybody on his back, and Tom Brady brings this team to the Super Bowl in their hometown. Truly incredible. And I'm fascinated by how great Brady truly is. Now, that being said, it's been 18 years since this franchise this is 18 years they're back to the Super Bowl. Jesse, give me some highlights, things that have happened in the last 18 years, historically speaking, since the...
So you know what? I'm gonna take it one step further.
Okay,
I'm gonna give you things that happened in 2002.
Okay.
So things that happened before the Bucs even made the Super Bowl that year, and a couple of that during.
Okay.
So one of the ones I mentioned that just a little while ago, Rich Gannon won the MVP that year. Mm-hmm. That year was also the year where USC's own Carson Palmer won the Heisman.
Oh, yeah.
That was in the middle of the BCS era with college football. You remember all that? Mm-hmm. That craziness?
Yeah, 2002. I'm just trying to
remember the game.
I'm trying. Which game?
The Fiesta Bowl in 2002.
Carson Palmer, USC Fiesta Bowl?
No, that wasn't Carson Palmer because it was a big game.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what are you... Let's
Bowl.
Go back to the beginning. What are we talking about here?
I'm giving you things that happened in 2002.
Okay, 2002 Fiesta Bowl. You're asking me who played?
Yes.
Got no
remember
idea.
who played? No play?
No. Can I have a hint?
One team is dominant now. One team hasn't really come back.
Okay. Are we talking about like an Alabama? I don't remember them there. Or a Clemson? I don't remember them there.
Close.
An Ohio State?
Boom.
Okay, Ohio State's... Oh, was it against Ohio State maybe like Miami?
Boom, there it is. Yep.
Yeah?
That
Ohio
year.
State, huh. Okay, that was a big game.
The Angels beat the Giants. That was such a depressing World Series.
Wait, the Angels World Series was 2002?
Yep.
Oh, my gosh, man. Let me tell you something. I remember that World Series quite well.
I
as a
don't,
matter
because
of
I
fact.
chose to boycott that World Series that
Let me
year.
tell you something. After the World Series was over and the Angels had won, I remember like being in Disneyland the next day. There was a huge parade, dude. There was
I can only imagine.
There was a huge parade.
I can only imagine.
The parade was outside the Big A, and it was everybody was there at the stadium as they pulled the parade in to the stadium parking lot. And I remember looking around going, wow, all this media is enjoying celebrating this World Series. Nobody paid attention to the Angels. They won the World Series, and now everybody's here live on television, Angels parade. They got done, and the Angel players and the coaches and the manager, it was like Sosha, and it was Buddy Black, who was the pitching coach at the time, who's now the manager of the Rockies. And they were parading now through Disneyland. And they asked me, and said, hey, will you MC the parade? So, dude, I was like standing there. Okay, here he comes now, everybody. Here comes the manager of the world champion Angels. Here comes Mike Sosha, everybody. And Sosha's in a convertible, and he's waving. Hey, here comes the pitching coach, everybody. Hey, say hello to Buddy Black. And so yeah, I was there to MC the parade, the Angels parade. Oh my God, 2002, dude.
Yep, that one took you back. Clearly, that one took you way back.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. How about this one? Lennox Lewis beat Mike Tyson.
Yeah, Lennox, I'm coming for you, Lennox. Lennox, I'm going to eat your children, Lennox. Yeah, those were the really weird Mike Tyson years. Like, this is the post-jail Mike Tyson. This is the showman Mike Tyson. This is Lennox Lewis, I'm going to eat your children, Lennox. And then after the fight was over and Lennox Lewis beat up on Mike Tyson, because Mike always had a problem with much bigger guys, and that's when the whole Buster Douglas thing kind of started that. After the fight was over, and they were like, so Mike, what's next? And he's like, man, I'm really sorry, Lennox. I'm sorry I said all those things about you, Lennox. Because he was like, man, that's just a fight game, man. Man, I'm just promoting the fight, man. Is that like the worst Tyson you've ever heard?
I've heard significantly worse, like mine.
No, Mike Tyson's much better than yours, man. You're the way worse, man.
Like I told you, it has been significantly worse.
This is horrible.
So I got a couple more. I got some music ones for you.
Okay, these are all things that happened before the Buccaneers won the Super Bowl in 2002?
For the most part, yeah. There's a that are sprinkled in that happened in like January of 2003, but for the most part, this is stuff that happened in 2002.
Okay.
So one, can you even just take a and guess what the top hit of the year was?
In 2002?
In 2002.
Well, I told you that Super Bowl was no doubt. So I'm trying to think of what was hot back then.
So I'll give you a hint.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll give you the hint. It's a band that everyone notoriously loves to hate.
Everyone loves to hate this band, huh?
Yes.
That doesn't do much for me.
No? Okay.
Not a good hint for me.
What if I play you one of their biggest hits?
Okay, go ahead.
Never made it as a wise man.
Oh, okay, got it. Is this
Yeah,
I got to think of Nickelback?
Boom.
Yeah.
This was declared the top hit of the year by Billboard.
Yeah, Nickelback, dude. I know, it's like what's the scene from 40-Year-Old Virgin where they're going back and forth, and then it's finally like, how I know you're, really not into chicks. It's like,
Coldplay.
Right? You listen to Coldplay, dude.
I find that offensive. I saw Coldplay in concert. They're actually really entertaining. But yeah, the fact that this song was...
Didn't the Coldplay guy marry Gwen Stefani of No Doubt?
I don't know. Did he?
Maybe. I don't know.
That kind of sounds familiar.
I don't know.
Here's one for me and Curtis.
Go ahead.
In 2002, Grand Theft Auto was a top-selling game, specifically Grand Theft Auto Vice City, which was...
That was my first PlayStation 2 game.
Really?
Yep.
See, and then here's what happened to you guys. You guys went to GameStop. You bought it for $70. You went back because now you're 13 years old and you're not 12 years old anymore. And you say, "Hey, I got this Grand Theft Auto game. I paid $70 for it last year. Can I trade it in?" They're like, "Yeah, I'll give you 38 cents for it." They give you your 38 cents. You get the next year's version. Now you're mad at GameStop. You don't like GameStop. Nope. And now, fast forward all these years later, and now you're a fan of GameStop because you just tripled your money with their stock. Truly amazing.
You want me to be real? Since
yeah,
Jesse
be really
and I
real.
grew up, we grew up in a Mexican household, and you only get one game a year. I didn't buy Grand Theft Auto Vice City. I rented it from the movie store down the street over and over, week at a time, until I beat it for like 2 months.
Are you kidding me? I lived at Blockbuster. I would go every week and rent a new game.
How much were they? How much was it to rent a game for a week? You remember?
I think it was
$7 or something like
for
that.
like 10 days, I think was the number. It was a weird number.
Yeah, I remember it became like, it was 2 days or 3 days, and then they extended it to like 5 days, and then they extended it to like 7, and then it was 10, and then ultimately, they just
that was that was a great ripoff, but a great business. Like you think about it, it's like, hey, I could buy this game for $60, or I could rent it for a week for $5, and you know what? I know it doesn't make much sense, but I don't have the $60. I'll rent it for $5. That's what I'll do. I'll rent it for $5. Yeah.
I mean,
Curtis, maybe you should, invest in Blockbuster stock. You're so hot now with GameStop.
I think it's a little too late for that one.
Oh, is that too late? Okay.
We should check.
Nokia and BlackBerry still on the market, though. If
Nokia is still there has to be some kind of Blockbuster.
Yeah, BlackBerry. All of a sudden, BlackBerry is like a thing. I didn't even know that exists. Does anybody here know anybody that has a BlackBerry?
Oh man, I remember I wanted a BlackBerry.
Our guy Steve had one until last week when he finally bought a new phone. Actually.
Oh my God,
really?
Steve did have
Steve
a BlackBerry.
Paylett doesn't care about that tech.
Oh
I
man,
forgot. Yeah,
he's an OG.
He does have a BlackBerry.
I mean, BlackBerry used to be a great phone. I mean, it was a great phone.
Used to be.
Yeah. I mean, there was like a little red light on it. Somebody texted you. You're like a shot of dopamine. You're like, oh my God, somebody texted me. Who is it?
And most of them had the full keyboard, so you'd be like, real cool and like typing with the full theme. And
and also when iPhones were coming out, you're like, I don't like the touch screen. I happen to actually like to feel the letters, the keyboard.
How fast that went away.
That's what the plebs said.
Any more, Jesse? Any more of the history lesson tonight? You're showing off one thing for me tonight, and I do appreciate this. The brain is still working. Strong memory, very good. I think it's the gummy vitamins from Costco. I think that's what it is.
Oh, it definitely could be that. Let's see.
I have other gummies for my memories.
Those are for you, make you forget your memory, apparently. Yeah. What about if I were told you the 2002 was the year of the Salt Lake City Winter Olympics? I remember that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Salt Lake Olympics, which kind of almost didn't happen until, the guy who they say saved those Olympics was Mitt Romney. And if you ever go to Park City or Salt Lake City, I mean, they still celebrate. It's like, hey, welcome to Salt Lake City. We had the Olympics here in 2002. You're like, yeah, it's 2021. It's cool, man.
I mean, if you're in Salt Lake, what else is there?
No, but no, there's Park City. There a couple things in Salt Lake. I didn't know either. But, obviously you got the Jazz in downtown, and you've got the University of Utah not too far from downtown. And then Park City's like 30 minutes out of Salt Lake City. And Park City's where so many of those winter events took place. And they still celebrate it, man. I mean, like there's signage everywhere. Like, welcome to Park City. We had the Olympics in 2002. It's like, man, okay, yeah, that's right. You did.
Hey, if that's the only thing you got to just sell it hard.
Well, I mean, I doubt you're going to see 20 years later in L.A., signs. But on the other hand, you got the Coliseum and, you've got, this is it. This is the spot. This is the place. This is the torch.
We'll see when the Olympics, I think, was it like 2028 or 2029? I mean, who knows what's going to happen with the Olympics at this point, but we'll get our Olympics.
You mean to tell me the Olympics haven't been canceled in 2029 yet? They haven't said, hey, look, Coachella and Stagecoach this year, we can't do it. Hey, we're just going to, we're just going to let you know, 2029.
Well, I don't even think they've announced what's going to happen with the Olympics for this year, because it was supposed to happen last year.
Japan's holding out on actually saying that they can't have it, it seems like.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens this year with the Olympics. And then that's why the whole NBA was trying to get started, because they're trying to make sure that they finish their season in time. So if players want to go and compete in the Olympics, they can do that without having to take, time off in the regular season or playoffs. So it's all logistically intertwined and connected.
All right, well, there you go, man. There's like a nice little history lesson right there. The last time the Buccaneers were in the Super Bowl, the 2002 season, 2003 in San Diego, and a huge win, a dominating performance over the Oakland Raiders. John Gruden went from the Raiders to the Bucs and delivered the Super Bowl, and then the reputation grew. And then Monday Night Football happened, and then all of the ESPN, and before you knew it, John Gruden became a $10 million a year coach for the Raiders, and the Raiders are still not very good yet. All right, there you go. That's the last time the Bucs were in the Super Bowl. Coming up, Friday night, it's time for the Man Crush Power Rankings. Yeah, I know. You've been waiting all week. Who are Kaplan's top 5 man crushes? Here comes our list. The Man Crush Power Rankings. Who made it? Who didn't make it? And who's number 1?
I'm anxious to find out. Tell me, Cap. Tell me.
Man Crush Power Rankings coming up next. It's Scott Kaplan on 710 ESPN.
710 ESPN is giving away cash
again.
You have just won $1,000.
Way to go, Gil!
No way. Oh, awesome.
Anushka from Cyprus. Anushka.
Did I really win?
You really won, man.
You have won $1,000 cash.
That's crazy.
It's the Mission 18 cash giveaway.
Your chance at $180 a day.
And the grand prize of $1,800.
It's Mission 18, Los Angeles.
All you have to do is text the word mission to 40705 right now to get your name qualified.
Beginning Tuesday afternoon with Sedano and LZ, we start calling out names, and it could be yours that wins cash.
Giving away cash for 18 straight days.
The Mission 18 cash giveaway from LA's Mega Cash Sports Station.
710 ESPN.
you his man crushes.
I've got a top 5 for Man Crush Power Rankings. These are people in sports that I have a deep admiration for a particular reason.
It's time for Cap's Man Crush List.
Derek Carr brought me tremendous pleasure.
Cap's Man Crush List on the Scott Kaplan Show.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Time for the Man Crush Power Rankings.
It's been so long, I forgot we had imaging for this.
Yeah, I know. It's good. It's really good. So I'm going to say one thing. I want to say one thing about this Man Crush Power Ranking, and I want to just say one thing to everybody. You need to hear me out before I give you this Man Crush Power Ranking. Here goes. So we had a gentleman on the show earlier tonight, the WWE champion, Drew McIntyre. Had we had Drew McIntyre on the show last night, he not only would have made the Man Crush Power Rankings, he would have been pushing my number one this week to become number one. That's how strongly I feel right now about WWE champion Drew McIntyre. And here's why. Not only was he great on the air tonight, but I put out a tweet that said something like, hey, coming up tonight at whatever his Twitter handle is coming up at ESPN Los Angeles. What does he do? He follows me on Twitter. Guy's got 1 million followers. I love that. That's good. Right? The World Wrestling Federation, World Wrestling Entertainment champs throwing you a follow on Twitter. That's cool. And then he's retweeting stuff. He's liking stuff. He answered our poll question about which was his favorite kind of wrestling match to be a part of. Cool, man. Drew McIntyre, you will be on the Man Crush Power Ranking list. Just a little late, man.
Can we just get him like an honorable mention for this week?
Well, I think that is. I mean, he's the 6th man right now.
He could have been a 2-belt champ. He could have been WWE champ and champ of the Man Crush list.
That's right.
What would a Man Crush belt look like? Would it be like hearts? Would it be pink?
Probably.
No. I think it should be like a World Wrestling Championship kind of belt or like a boxing championship belt. But the thing is, what I want to do is I want to take the picture of myself when I'm sitting with all those pink umbrellas and my legs are crossed,
It's your Twitter picture.
Yeah, and I'm looking like really smooth in that blue suede jacket when I'm just looking like the money, okay? That's what I think. I think that should be the picture on the belt. All right, let me give you the top 5 this week. Man Crush Power Rankings. And it's really a good way to start because, last night I'm watching this Laker game. And I actually am rewatching it right now. 61-59, Lakers are in the lead, 9:27 to go. You know how it ends. Lakers get just their doors blown off in the fourth quarter. Nobody could hit a shot, and Detroit went on a 14-0 run when it was a 2-point game with 8 minutes to go. But when the game was over last night, LeBron comes out to do his post-game press conference. And I just love the way LeBron shows up to these press conferences. He's not Cam Newton, overdressed. He's just LeBron, smooth and cool. And when I saw LeBron last night, Janice, I know you got these pictures because for those of you listening on the radio, you won't see this, but for those of you that are watching on our YouTube stream or Twitch or Twitter or Facebook, LeBron shows up last night and he's got on a purple hat with like a sweatshirt hoodie and the hood over the hat. And these really cool, Sally Jesse Raphael sort of sunglasses, if you know what I'm saying to you. And he's just looking so cool and smooth. And then I said, I have stuff like that here in my house. It's not purple like Prince. I don't got the Sally Jesse goggles, but I put on a hat. I put on some sunglasses. I put on a hoodie over the hat. I rocked my headphones. And I was like, you know what, LeBron? You look cool. I probably don't look cool, but I feel cool. I'm inspired, man. You got me. LeBron James in at number 5 this week on my Man Crush Power Rankings. Not too bad. Way to go, King. Appreciate you, dog.
Good job, King.
Did you guys see those pictures? I posted them on my Instagram at Scott Kaplan. Wasn't really sure if I should post them or not. I was like, is everybody going to think this is as funny as I think it is?
I mean, I giggled. I mean, I saw that and I was like, oh, who else but Cap? One of those things. Chris Morales actually reposted that on Instagram, our imaging director, and he said that's why Cap is a legend. Or this is why Cap is a legend.
I don't know, man. I just know that I felt really cool. And warm, by the way. I was really warm.
You looked really cozy, especially with that. Was that a towel or was that a coat?
I had a jacket. Let's see. I had a long sleeve shirt, and then I had a hoodie, and then I had the hat, and then I had a blanket over me. Yeah. And if you're watching on our live stream right now, Janice just pulled it up. Just looking dope. Don't you think?
Yeah, you look very cozy with that. Especially, it looks like a blanket that's just like
it
over
is a
your
blanket.
Shoulders. It's
Do you want the real truth, Cap?
Oh,
yeah,
boy.
tell me.
You look like if the Virgin Mary went to go play Texas Hold'em and didn't want people to see what she was looking at.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Maybe I didn't
one
look
way
as
to do it.
Maybe I didn't look as cool as I thought I did. All right, number 4 on the Man Crush Power Rankings this week. And get ready, because here comes a big old name drop for you. My friend Jim Nantz from CBS Sports.
Name dropper.
Jim was on my podcast earlier this week. If you are a YouTuber and you want to find my podcast, Kaplan and Crew, it's called N Crew because I got a bunch of other buddies that are putting their podcasts on my page on YouTube because it takes forever to build a subscriber audience there on YouTube unless you totally go viral. And so I got a bunch of friends that are putting their podcasts on my YouTube channel. Jim Nantz came on and was telling really a great story about how this NFL football season, we all talked about the NBA bubble and how hard it was for LeBron and the Lakers, 90 days away from your family. You don't have your massage therapist or your chef. Man, my schedule's all screwed up. I don't have my chef. And it's hard. Jim was talking about how hard the NFL season was. It just, as he described it, it wasn't fun. You're traveling week after week, game after game. And he would say, I was in my hotel room. Tony Romo was in his hotel room. We didn't have dinner. We didn't get together. We had Zoom meetings. It was just not fun. And he's getting ready to call the Super Bowl. And you can find my interview with Jim Nantz on my YouTube channel. Kaplan and Crew is what it's called. All right, Curtis Poindexter, this next one, number 3, this is for you, pal. Okay, this is all for you. Number 3 on the Man Crush Power Rankings this week, Wall Street Bets. I don't really know who Wall Street Bets is. Like, I don't know who he is as a guy. I don't know his real name. But I know this. I like disruptors. I like guys who got fight in their game. It doesn't always mean I'm going to agree with everything they do. But in this guy's case, whoever this guy may be, this guy got balls, man. Big ones. Giant ones. And
it's Curtis in disguise. I truly believe that. He's fooling all of us, including you and me.
I mean, to really think, okay, I'm going to take a group of people on Reddit. By the way, just a serious question for everybody listening. How many of you heard of Reddit for the first time this week? Like, how many of you did not know what Reddit was? Because let me tell you something. Reddit's as big as Twitter. It's just Twitter seems to be a dominant player, at least in my world.
Twitter is mainstream. Reddit is still, for whatever reason, kind of like underground.
You know that Reddit has 300 million users?
Oh, yeah. Reddit's been big. I've looked at Reddit all the time.
Reddit's massive.
My resources, yeah.
I'm trying to learn the platform a little bit more. And as someone who's, by the way, in the world of startup software and media type platforms, believe me, I'm personally fascinated by this. So amazing. Whoever this person is, Wall Street Bets, what this guy did this week. When I went to follow him on Twitter, there were like 100 followers. It ballooned to 300,000 followers in a snap of a finger when Reddit shut those guys down. So look, I like people who are disruptive. I like people who really have a lot of fight to their game. And I just hope for his sake and for all the other people who are following sake, including our man Curtis here tonight, man, I just hope it all works out for everybody. Me personally, I'm watching this one from the sidelines. I realize you may be able to buy GameStop for $100 and sell it at $350. I just don't. The whole thing feels dirty to me. I'm watching from the sidelines, just so you know.
You can pull up a chair next to me. I'll bring the popcorn.
I mean, listen, Curtis is trying to talk me into buying AMC on Monday morning.
Hold the stocks. Hold the door. Next week.
Are you talking Lord of the Rings?
No, he's not talking Lord of the Rings. He's talking Game of Thrones, man.
Hey, Mordor's Lord of the Rings. I know that much.
No, Hodor.
R.I.P. Hodor.
Hold a door. Hold a door.
The doors.
It's a total
closed.
Game of Thrones reference. And Curtis, aren't you impressed that I got it?
Oh, yeah. I'm still a little hurt.
He's not even mad.
Every time Game of Thrones gets brought up, I have a little bit of PTSD, though.
Oh, really?
I was not a fan of that last season.
Yeah, I know a lot of people feel that way.
I'm like that with How I Met Your Mother.
Two very vastly different programs, yeah. All right, number 2 on the Man Crush Power Rankings. I've given you LeBron, Jim Nance. Number 3 was Wall Street Bets. And number 2, Alex Toussaint. Number 2, Alex Toussaint. Now, I'm looking at Janice on my video screen here, and Janice is like, I know who LeBron is. I kind of know who Jim Nance is. I definitely heard of this Wall Street Bet guy this week, but I don't know who Alex Toussaint is. You don't know who he is, do you? I'll tell you who he is. He's my Peloton instructor. Oh, yeah. I get on that Peloton, and sometimes I'm tired, man. Long day. You know, I got things to do. I could be easily distracted by my phone. And then there's this dude, Alex Toussaint, and this guy's screaming at me, hey, let's go. Come on, work. You came here for this. Let's go, work. I'm not going to let you do that. I'm like, you're yelling right at me, dude.
Sounds a lot like Sean T.
I don't know. I like this guy a lot. He's one of my favorite Peloton instructors. This guy's very cool.
Got to dig deeper, Cap.
Dude, I am digging. I am digging deep. And very deep. And it's because this guy, Alex Toussaint. So he's number 2 on the Man Crush Power Rankings.
Just remember, when you're going hard on that bike.
Yeah. Yeah?
Don't get it twisted.
Oh, don't get it twisted, homeboy? Okay, thank you. I won't. I thought you wanted me to remember that while I'm going hard on the bike, you're out there making money in the stock market.
That too, never forget.
Yep, I won't.
And I'm just chilling at the sidelines, eating my popcorn.
LeBron James at 5. Jim Nance at 4. Wall Street Bets at 3. Peloton instructor Alex Toussaint at number 2 on the Man Crush Power Rankings. And now, at number 1, I've talked about this guy every night this week. How has he done this? How is it that a guy can spend 18 years in one town, go to 9 Super Bowls, win 6, and have the courage to take the risk to leave his franchise, his city, and go to the lowly Tampa Bay Buccaneers? And how has he done it? How could Tom Brady take the Buccaneers in year 1 and not just make the Super Bowl, go through Drew Brees on the road, go through Aaron Rodgers in Lambeau Field, and bring the Buccaneers to the Super Bowl in their town? And let me tell you something. I'm taking the Buccaneers to win, not cover, to win the game. The football gods have already written the story. Tom Brady, Mr. All-American, good-looking, ultra-rich, supermodel wife, and the ultimate champion. The football gods have written the story. Tom Brady will win this game. Tom Brady, number 1 on the Man Crush Power Rankings. But again, keep in mind, just keep in mind, Drew McIntyre was a 6th man and the WWE champ. Had we done this interview that we did last night, Drew McIntyre would have given Tom Brady a run for his money.
You give him a Claymore right from the Scottish Circle himself.
Yes,
Curtis popped so hard. Oh, he's marking out so much right now.
I know. I'm name dropping tonight, and you guys are fanboying tonight. I love it. It's a fun night. It's a very good night.
And it's Friday night atop all that.
Yeah.
I almost forgot it was Friday night. We've been having so much fun.
Friday night pulling into the weekend. I'll tell you right now, I made reservations tomorrow night. You know, we've been working this week. And we've been working, and, you know, we've been on after the Lakers, and we've been on till, you're on till 10 o'clock at night. And my girlfriend's like, so am I ever going to see you?
I
like,
know
listen,
that. I know that struggle.
Yeah. I'm like, listen,
yeah.
I made reservations for Saturday night. Made the resis. Okay. I booked the time.
What are you going to go eat? Or
we're going to go out for a nice dinner, just the two of us. We're not inviting other couples, you know, and we're going to eat outside wherever we can. Hopefully the weather gets better. And the restaurants are coming back to life. I'm coming back out to support. Okay. All right. Listen, coming up will be our final thoughts of the week. My final thoughts of the week, I can tell you right now, will center around a bunch of questions that I've asked you as the week has gone on. I've posted poll questions, and now I'm going to tell you how the ESPN Los Angeles listeners voted. Those will be my final thoughts. I'll be curious to hear from the financial advisor and from Jesse the Body. Stick around. Final thoughts on the way. Scott Kaplan on 710 ESPN.
Seven to 10 p.m. This is the Scott Kaplan Show on 710 ESPN.
And the woman said to me, she goes, hey, are you the guy on the radio? And I was like, oh my God, that makes me feel so like you're in my business.
The LA Sports Talk don't stop. Now back to Scott Kaplan.
Just another one of those Hollywood nights. Scott Kaplan on 710 ESPN. My producers, Jesse the Body Lopez, Curtis Poindexter, the financial advisor, Janice Garcia operating the entire live stream, which is presented by Puente Hills Toyota. So if you are getting out of the car tonight, you take us in on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook. Yeah, old schoolers, we're still on Facebook. There's people out there on Facebook, okay? Don't laugh. All right, final thoughts. So I love to put out questions and get feedback, especially when I'm getting ready to get on the radio. I love to hear what you guys think about things so I know sometimes what I want to talk about. So I built a platform. It's called Sided. I've talked about it on the air before. I send out tweets. You can click on the link, and I would love to have everybody download this app and participate because it's really fun. So I asked this question earlier today, and it's actually just yesterday. Have you seen the Tiger Woods unauthorized documentary on HBO? If so, what did you think? If not, will you see it? 72% of people said that they've not seen this documentary yet. And so I want to talk about it, but I'm thinking most of you guys haven't seen it. So I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I do want to say this. It's worth your time. I spent 4.5 hours last week watching this documentary, and it's good. It's really good. And it's super interesting how you find out that Tiger Woods and what happened to him, he saw that from his father. The infidelity that took Tiger Woods from the squeaky clean image and made him human, fall from grace, that was stuff that he saw his father doing. So it's just kind of an interesting storyline of Tiger's dad died, and he really went into a tailspin of trying to understand who his father was and why he was the way he was. And Tiger Woods started acting like he was going to become a Navy SEAL. In fact, even threatened at one time, I'm quitting golf, I'm becoming a Navy SEAL, because his father was a Green Beret. And the women, that's what his father used to do. His father would pull the Winnebago onto the golf course. Little Tiger is out there practicing on the putting green, and dad is getting down and dirty, drinking with hot blonde in the Winnebago.
Bow, chicka, bow, bow.
Stories are fascinating. So, but again, 72% of you on the Sided app said you haven't seen the Tiger Woods documentary yet. I asked another question, and I mentioned this recently. Now that the restaurants are reopening, have you made reservations? 59% of people said no, not feeling it yet. 40% said, yeah, can't wait. So I think right now we find out that more people are kind of still chilling and waiting. Put out one earlier in the week. New Chargers coach Brandon Staley looks just like Peter Brady. What do you think? Have you seen the new coach of the Chargers? And have you seen him next to Peter Brady from the Brady Bunch? Do you guys know the Brady Bunch show? Is that too before your time?
It's not. Well, I mean, I think just because of how big that show was, I know the show. But I have to look it up because I don't, the faces, I don't really remember the faces a lot. So I'm looking it up right now.
Peter was my least favorite of the boys.
Gotcha. Well, 73% agree. 73% say, yeah. Brandon Staley and Peter Brady separated at birth. And 26% of people say, nope, I just don't see it. And then, Curtis, this last one, this is for you, pal. I asked this question earlier this week because I was really wondering, as we were going to talk about this, how many of you guys are involved. I wrote this question. Are you in on the GameStop surge? 88% of people said no, too much volatility. And 11% of people said, yes, I bought and I'm playing. And Curtis, check me on this, but I think I saw you in on this conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in that 11%. So for the other, the rest of you guys?
You know that Curtis says here? Look what Curtis says, though. He says, I bought one share to get in on the action. I'm holding strong till Monday. It's Friday, and the dude already sold out.
Only to a more lucrative stock, to be fair.
So, look, I would like to say to everybody, when you're doing nighttime radio, there's lots of other hours during the day. And I got into this thing just totally by accident, man. I always thought radio, that's what you do. When you're in radio, that's what you do. You get on the air, you're on radio. But I got into this world of building a piece of software and building a mobile app and living the startup entrepreneurial life. And it's been a blast. I mean, don't get me wrong. I freaking love it. Okay. But I need you guys to jump onto this app. So if you don't mind, I'll say to everybody tuning in, download, man. Download the app. It's called Sided Debates. You can find it in the iOS store. You can find it in the Google Play store. And so, listen, it's a lot of fun, and you have a chance to win tons of Amazon gift cards. And next week, Super Bowl week, we're going to be giving away Amazon gift cards every day, and then a big $250 giveaway on Super Bowl Sunday. So you're winning Amazon gift cards, like real money, for sharing your opinions. Final thought. Come join me. The app is called Sided. All right. What do you got, Jesse? What's your final thought tonight, pal?
Well, a final thought with some breaking news. We've been all looking forward to that Floyd Mayweather-Logan Paul fight. Apparently, it is now off. According to TMZ Sports, the two sides are working on rescheduling the fight as soon as possible, but they are reporting that the fight was shelved due to COVID and other things. So a bit of a bummer because we all wanted to see Mayweather whip Paul's ass. This was Mayweather's face turn. And just like Drew McIntyre turned face last year when he won the Royal Rumble, this was Mayweather's time to turn face, and sad we're gonna have to wait on that now. Very disappointing.
So you're saying that Mayweather's always been a heel?
Oh, definitely.
But this Paul brother is so disliked that Mayweather is actually going to become the face.
Baby face, yep.
Mm-hmm. That's real inside wrestling talk right there, people. That's real inside wrestling talk. And you'll notice the way I just flow with it, man. I got it. I know how to talk it. I got the language. I do.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's pretty easy to pick up. You watch some wrestling, and then you watch a lot of old school wrestling where that was pretty much how they talk. So
that's right.
It's all
right. Let me get a final thought here from Curtis Poindexter, our financial advisor. So proud of this guy. Curtis, what do you say, man? Final thought?
Anyone that got into this just like I did on a whim, good luck. But in all honesty, don't put in as much as you can afford to lose because it's all, we're all gambling one way or another. So just make sure you're being smart about it.
Cautious investing to all is a popular phrase I've heard. Cautious investing to all. There you go. Thank you, Janice Garcia, for hooking up the live stream presented by Puente Hills Toyota, the House of Yes. We really appreciate you, girl. Thank you so much. You're awesome.
Thank you, Janice.
Thank you to Curtis Poindexter, my man. We've had a good time this week, not just talking about sports stuff, but the real life stuff that was happening. And I loved your enthusiasm for it, Curtis. Have a great weekend, man. And Jesse the Body from Laker Broadcasts, right back onto the airwaves. Great work as always. Hey, look, for the entire team, I'll tell you tomorrow, Lakers basketball, Alan Sliwa, Michael Thompson, Lakers and Clippers mañana. And then Monday, we're back. So until then, for the entire team here at 710, this is Scott Kaplan saying, peace.